What's going on, people? I missed you guys. I wasn't on last week. Why was I not on last week? Can't remember. I don't know. Welcome. If you're from Web Nation, welcome. We have a new audience, maybe some people. So a lot of new followers came from Web Nation. Now you guys can see what we actually do. We're going to get into the nitty gritty with FKC Legal and Franklin about a topic that comes up with almost every person I talk to is residency and investing and how they interact with each other. A lot of you guys are rushing to go for residency. Uh, it's not always necessary right away. I'll let Franklin talk about it as I bring him on. I have a MH in the comments was saying we have a lot to discuss, and we do. We have so many things to talk about. It's it's very important. Lots of new things, lots of stuff going on. I've been working very hard. See, look, my eyes look a little red. I don't know. I always look weird in here. I'm letting people get in. Uh, for the new audience or people that don't know me that well, my name is Ryan Fagan. I am a U.S. citizen. What? I don't know. I'm from the U.S. I'm a real estate broker in the U.S. I have been investing in real estate since 2010. Bought my first property, a fourplex in Texas. I've done a lot of things in real estate. Done about 8 to 10 flips, some buy and hold properties in the US. We buy the property, fix it up, rent it out. Not super big or anything like that, but definitely pretty experienced in real estate investing. I'm also a real estate broker, so we help people buy and sell homes, just like Berkshire Hathaway, Remax, Keller Williams, all that stuff. We have a small boutique brokerage in South Jersey called Are the Real Estate. You can look it up. You can see all of our agents. We have about 7 agents. Actually, we just onboarded 2 new people. And so we do that as well. I've been running my own brokerage for, oh my goodness, we're in our third year now in one of the slowest real estate markets in the United States. Maybe one of the reasons how I'm over here in Kenya doing stuff. We'll get into it. Some of my background, I've worked in property preservation. I've worked as a real estate analyst for a commercial appraisal firm. I was a mortgage loan officer for 2 years, sold millions of dollars worth of loans. I've done a lot of stuff in real estate during the foreclosure crisis. After that, I did um, property preservation for bank-owned properties on the Northeast from Virginia all the way up to New York. I was responsible for that region, making sure that the properties got on the market. Crazy job that I had way back in the day. We even had one time a cleaner came in and there was like a uh, imprint of a dead body and she cleaned it and there was blood. Oh, I remember seeing the pictures. Crazy. Real estate is a crazy business. And I ended up coming to Kenya for a whole bunch of different reasons. Everybody asks me if you're here from Web Nation Africa. I never really talk about myself really actually on this channel that much. So go over to Web Nation Africa and watch that video. I think is a pretty accurate representation of my perspective out here. You guys know I'm into balance and keeping it real. I don't like to be over the top. So there's that. And so the itinerary for today, we have early access. Nobody else has seen this project yet. So everyone's complaining, oh, by the time you guys review properties, by the time you guys do a video, all the best units are sold and all that stuff. Well, we have the first access to this particular property in Kilauea. I'm going to go over that. We're still in a soft launch for Almasi Realty, which is the real estate brokerage here in Kenya that we've launched. We have 2 team members plus myself. I've been consulting with lots of clients. We've actually done quite a bit on our soft launch. We haven't even gone official, only for you guys in the live or our, more dedicated followers, members are really aware of what we're doing. We haven't announced it to the public. I'm still training the team. I'm training the team in a different way for Almasi. So we have people that are new to the real estate industry, which was very important to us. And I'm training them with a different style where we are very much, the goal is to create a safe passageway to purchasing property in Kenya. Now, of course, we still work with the local market, the diaspora, and foreigners. We do all that, but we do things. I'm really bringing a lot of the U.S. style of how we do real estate, which is very hands-on, very accountable. We take a lot of responsibility for the outcomes. And the way real estate works in Kenya is a little bit different. What we're trying to do, honestly, we try to unbiasedly just give you the information, help you acclimate to the Kenyan real estate market. A lot of what we're trying to do is more on the education side. We're not really trying to sell anything to you. We just want you to see the properties that fit your buying category and what you're looking for so that you actually get the right property for you. That is the number one goal. We don't want you getting steered in one direction or another because different incentives. Just really want you to understand the different areas, the different projects, the pluses, the minuses, and the risks. Many of you guys have been seeing the building collapses and everything and different problems that are in the market. And trust me, there's way more problems than you even understand or risks that are involved. And we try to just give you the best pros and cons and equip you with the information. Let's be realistic. There's more risk buying here, but there's more opportunity. There's lower prices. There's higher return on investments. I think the future appreciation is potentially massive, but it comes with risks, and we're realistic about that. And we want you to know about these risks, and we want you to be well informed when you make a decision. That's very important to me. I don't care what someone does necessarily. I just don't want them to be surprised with information. I want you to feel comfortable and knowledgeable about what you're doing. And that is our main goal. And that's how we're training the team with Almasi Realty. That is our number one ethos and what we're trying to do. We're in a soft launch, so we can help you. AlmasiRealty.com. Almasi means diamond, if you guys didn't know. I'll put it here. I'll put a comment. And then if you want to reach out to me, especially now, because now, guys, it's been very busy. All these interviews I've done, launching the company, I'm getting a lot of messages. Thank goodness we have Grace, our client coordinator, who's been doing a fantastic job keeping me organized. So now messages and everything go to her. And then we make a group chat and we organize everything. And then Lillian is our junior sales agent that we're training. The Gen Zs and the young people here in Kenya are so high speed. I call them the dream team. We're doing a lot of training. Oh, is my order here? Oh gosh, hold on one second. I'm sorry. No, it's not. Okay. Sorry for that interruption, guys. I'm waiting on an order, so I thought I heard them. Where was I? Oh, training the dream team. The Gen Zs, the young people, very enthusiastic. And the cool thing is, again, they're not tainted by the real estate industry here, which I have problems with how they do things. We're doing stuff differently. So that's what's going on. Again, the itinerary, we just talked about it, Almasi Realty. Let me share our website. Okay, let's talk about the website a little bit. Can we see it? Okay. Oh, so we have Franklin here. I can't hide him. That's okay. Franklin, don't say anything yet. He's muted. He's getting ready. He's in the wings. Yeah, there you go. uh, oh gosh. Okay, so here is our website. Uh, Guys, I'm not a web developer, but everything you see on this page, I did. I'm struggling as a startup here, and the goal is to have the Zillow of real estate here in Kenya. There's a couple other people trying to do that. Doing our best. There's definitely GUI issues, graphic user interface issues that we're still working on. But I do think it's quite functional for a couple reasons. So if you're looking at listing category, we've added resales, which many of you guys asked for, which are immediately available. Actually, this guy from Favorite Gardens / Super Gardens, actually, he's a US guy, and he's reselling his top floor property in Kilimani. We have some resales at Emerald. If you guys are interested in any of these properties, actually, we have some listings from Escada. That's where Rooftop 270, a really cool restaurant, is. Lots of Emerald, but we have some other properties. Misty Springs. If you guys notice, the price is quite higher than off plan for those of you guys who are always asking about stuff that's available now. Riverside 1, this is on Riverside Lane, very interesting property that we were at. Neptune in Lavington, Diamond Oak, nice quality over there at the Oaks. And actually, some of these listings are from Mr. Oscar from Elite Sanctuary Realtors. So actually, for example, if you were looking at purchasing this property, you would be talking to Oscar. You can include us and ask us to help you with the transaction, but this is actually his listing. Here's his picture and information. Actually, let's see, does it work? I'm working on the, see, this text is still messed up. So there's some things that we're working on with the website, of course. So that's one perk of using the filter. And then now we're able to filter by county, area, so we can look at Westlands if we want. And so we're just looking at the Westlands properties. Let me use the property search button. So we can go Kilauea. And so these are the projects available in Kilauea. And then you can search by developer if you want. You can search by occupancy timeline. So for example, I want something that's completing in a year or less. Here are the properties completing in 1 year or less. Actually, Blossom's Ivy, we just added that. I took these pictures myself. Pretty interesting project. Let me check the comments here for you guys. Hold on, let me bring myself back. We got a new member, Devol 9605. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Cypher. Hello, Ryan. Big Mo. So excited about this next project. If you're in the mailing list, you got an email blast about it. Nairobi Barbie, what's going on? Savoring the Globe TV. Hi, Ryan and everyone. Thank you for being a member. Martin and Bess, what's going on, man? How's it going? Nairobi Barbie, looking forward to today's show. MH, I see you're busy today. I've been busy since we soft launched the brokerage, Almasi. Freedom, just finished your Gaia Brookside video. It'll be a wonderful project. Yes, we've released a Diplomat video, Executive Suites, and Gaia just came out yesterday. Gaia's a family size 3, 4, 5 bedroom property in Brookside, which doesn't get a lot of coverage, but actually, if you have a good budget and you like Westlands, but you don't want to be so busy, Brookside's probably the best. Then it'd be Riverside, then Lavington, Kilauea, Kilimani. If I was ranking them. Brookside's quite expensive though, but Brookside has like a it's very walkable. It's not very dense, but you're so close to Waiyaki Way, in the expressway, and you're close to Westlands. It's like the best of everything, all at the same time. Really nice area. Another project that's interesting over there is Brookside Oak. We were over there recently with Kai. Kai's not in the country anymore, but we were over there before he left. I'll lock in on the next live. Okay. Willis Wilson, what's going on? Can the prices convert to dollars? I've been working on that. When I make it where the option is for the dollar conversion, it gets all messed up. But I'm going to get that done as well. Already hiring. Impressive, Ryan. Our beautiful Gen Z queens are more than ready. Yeah. Man, it's really cool. And it's really encouraging because I'll probably give it too much information, but we have performance incentives for our whole team, and it's a lot of potential for them to make like the top 1% income earners if everything works out here. So I'm really feeling that. Maybe the top 10%, I should say. I don't know. So it's just a feel-good thing with the whole company and everything. And you guys are really supporting that and the success already. I can't believe it. I can't believe the numbers that we've been doing. I can't believe so many people have been wanting to. And how are they finding us? Because I haven't really told anybody except for you guys. And, there's 70 people in here, which is incredible. I can't believe it. Thank you for watching. Oh, my God, these delivery drivers. Hold on. Niaja.
Hello. Poa, nimefika.
I'm here.
Where are you?
B8. Oh, hold on. Let me. Sorry, I almost gave my address on the live. Goodness gracious. Thanks, Ryan. Well done. Will you be doing long-term? Yes, eventually. Probably by the time we do the diplomat handover, we'll be ready. We want to perfect the sales side. I think a lot of people have a lot of ideas, and that's a good way to mess up your business. We're trying to do get one thing perfect and then move on to the next thing. I know the management is very needed. Personally, I manage my own property in Lavington right now because I'm at the point of I don't trust anybody. I'm not trying to deal with. I'm sorry, the management is bad. It's a problem. If someone else doesn't do it, we will start doing it. But give us probably at least a year and a half to get ready for that. Dr. Deca, member, what's going on? I'm glad that you are maintaining a relationship with Oscar. He's legit. I too am looking for. Yeah, Oscar's been great. I know I've said this about other people before, but until something bad happens, he's great, high integrity, high knowledge, stands out in the market. So I can't say enough good things about him. I appreciate him, and we've been kind of working together as much as possible. We're able to do some of the resales. I think he's going to give us some rentals, and that business pretty much goes to him right now because we're trying to build the database. I think if we could build a strong database where you guys know that you can come to the website, the properties are verified at least to a certain degree, or at least if they are or not verified. So for example, let's bring up the screen again. Here we go. So let's bring up the property search. So we have different levels. So you see here, open listing. That means that we have the property information, but I haven't personally reviewed or analyzed this particular property. I don't have really any information beyond the stuff that's publicly available. So we include those listings. If you were interested in it, obviously we'll go out there and do an analysis and do the whole thing. Meanwhile, you see reviewed listing is basically we've been to the properties, probably spent 2-3 hours there analyzing the property, understanding what's being built around it. I'm pretty familiar with the pricing. I'm familiar with the layouts, the units. Obviously, we still communicate with the developer to verify and get into the nitty gritty of a lot of the details, but we're knowledgeable on that property. We've reviewed it. Then we have, oh, here's the delivery. 1 second, guys. Hi.
Hey, been waiting us for long, so long.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I've been waiting so long.
Where?
Upside down, you see they telling me I pick up and then I end up. So I stay there for
Oh, yeah.
minutes.
They're supposed to come to the
Okay.
apartment. Yeah. Something. Oh, 1 second. Yeah. These delivery guys. What? Okay. Thank you for your patience. Sometimes when you order from Uber Eats, I don't get it, but like just come to the location. I don't get it. And then I feel bad, but it's like all the instructions say go to the apartment. I don't know. I wish them the best. Thank you. Peace Bro. Can a UK citizen get a mortgage? Oh, did you leave that comment? I saw the comment. I didn't get the chance to respond. Franklin from FKC Legal can answer this question, and we're going to cover that. Hey, Ryan. Nairobi Barbie. Ryan, you should have asked the delivery guy, Uko, meaning, where are you? Uko Wapi. Yeah, I know. I didn't know what he said to me, though. And this is, if I say Niaje, Sasa, especially on the phone, they don't know. But actually in person, too, sometimes. It looks like there are sell-offs on Nairobi Stock Exchange because of, I don't know about the stock exchange. I don't like short-term movements because, especially when our president, he changes his mind every day. How can you predict what's going to happen? What if potential client wants Almasi to help them find a place in Tattoo City? We will do our best. I don't think Tattoo City works with outside agents, but if that's what fits for you, then that's what fits. I wouldn't dissuade you. I'll give you, but my opinion is biased. Like if you go there and you like it, if you like it, I love it, I guess, I think your delivery is there. Okay. What else on the website? Uh, we've been talking to some people about land listings. You may see 1 or 2 pop up. There's some at the coast, and there's one at Siokimau that I think are going to come up soon. So those of you guys talking about land and all that, we verify the title deed, the plot map. We meet with the people in person, and or at least the one that we're about to list. And again, this is where the listing status matters. If it's open listing, maybe they just sent us the information. We'll put it as open. You still have to do your own due diligence. If it's reviewed, you still need to do your own diligence, but we did see preliminary documents. You still need to do a title search. FKC, again, they can talk about that. Franklin will be able to talk about that kind of stuff. But everyone's asking about land. That's something that we'll start doing. It's not, I don't want to branch out too fast, but we're getting a lot of inquiries of people wanting to sell land, and we can at least put them in the database. Again, I want to give the disclaimer: with land, you have to be very careful, and these things aren't fully verified. I'm working on a way to fully verify the properties for Almasi verified, so that when they're listed, that everything's done. Got to figure out the cost of all that stuff, though, so that's what we're working on with that. Let me check the comments one more time, and then we're going to move on to the next topic, and then we're going to bring Franklin in. What if oh yeah. People are finding you via word of mouth. I'm asking people to listen to your live. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been unbelievable, honestly. So, and I was, I'm from the U.S., so training and HR and business culture here, I was a little worried about, but I'm so encouraged by the team, and they're really getting like what we're trying to do, and I attribute that to kind of the youthful attitude, and that they haven't been in the industry, and so we're able to create a culture about transparency, integrity, consultation, guidance that hopefully is going to differentiate us from a lot of other businesses. Are all properties compliant with the Sectional Properties Act 2020? What do you mean compliant? Okay, next thing, and then we're bringing in Franklin. Let's go. So we okay. Let me say that ever since we met the developers, which the main director, his name is Jonas, and the sales manager Mona at Luminara, I really feel like there was an alignment in some concepts and philosophies. I care about quality. I care about doing business the right way. I care about, even when I do flips in the US, I've always spent a little extra money to make it a little extra nice. Partly as a business strategy, but also your work is a representation of you. So when we're doing Almasi Realty and our level of service, I think it reflects on us as the owners, and I take pride in that. And I feel like Jonas, Mona, and the people at Luminara, now they have a name, Hans Group, with a Z, not a S. I feel like they share many of the same values. And for that reason, we've really gravitated towards them, and really we've kind of gravitated towards each other. And so we've been building a relationship, and I think Luminar is great, especially with all those small details. And I know, think about it, when you buy cabinets, if you buy cabinets with, it seems like a small thing, but the curved edge, it costs over, if you have 400 cabinets or 800, 1,000 cabinets, it costs quite a bit more money, even if it's a small amount more to provide that. And in this market, sometimes you do kind of get not the bare minimum, but the cheapest that they can get away with. And I think the philosophy with Jonas, the Hans Group, Luminara, is to do a little bit extra, like the smart meters and water filtration system in the building. Plenty of buildings sell without water filtration systems because people don't even think about it. The extractor hood that goes outside of the building instead of just recycling inside. All those type of small details show a commitment to like an attention to detail that I shouldn't say we haven't seen, because there are some really good developers. So I don't want to say that they're the only ones, but it's kind of rare in the market where you're seeing people really put that little extra care into things. And so they have a new project. It's in Killaleshwa. It's called Belgravia. That's a fancy place in London. I don't really know anything about the UK or London like that, but that's where the name comes from. It's in Killaleshwa. I'm going to show you guys some of the concept. All the information is not out yet. There is we've been, actually, he was asking my opinion about different building materials and stuff. And so he actually was making some changes, and now it's about ready to launch. So we want to let you guys know that it's available. You can get access to the earliest units, way better pricing, launch prices, plus we're also getting the extra 3% Almasi discount. And so I think it's pretty incredible. Let me show you guys some of the renders, some of the philosophies, and we're going to do a video on it. I'm waiting for them to get the renders of the common areas, because we have the renders of like each unit type, but we don't have all of them. Do all the properties have a sectional title? Yes, they do. That's how they do it now. Let's see. Hi, Ryan and Sylvia, your neighbor. Not disclosing our address. Congratulations with your new company. Thank you. I'd love to hear from Franklin how I can evade paying all taxes to this government as a young oppressed Kenyan. Maybe we'll get into that. Oh, look, Abdi is able to be here as well. We'll see if he's away, so we'll see how that connection works in a second. I know I'm killing you guys, making you wait for Franklin and Abdi, and they're waiting, but we have to cover this stuff. We have to do it. Let's bring up. So, Belgravia Place, Kilauea, by the Hans Group. And let's just go through some of the pictures. I did drive by the site. There are a couple buildings coming up around here. The backside view and the street view obviously are going to be the best, especially the backside because it's looking towards the foresty area. Here are some other renders. So he's going, because there's a lot of like shiny tiles and like gaudy stuff. He's going for like a subtle, quiet luxury aesthetic, earthy, fitting in with Kilauea. I really need Jonas to describe some of this stuff, because when Jonas talks about it, like you could tell he puts so much thought into, even with Luminara, for example. I think that place is going to feel correct, if that makes sense, right? So it's more for investment, hotel lobby, open green areas, the atrium. I think when you go in there, you're going to have a different type of feeling versus most buildings. For example, even where I'm at, the common areas are just plain unpainted white walls. It's the lights only turn on by sensors, dark. Like when I just stepped out here, the light wasn't on. So there's a lot of little extras that can make you feel like, you're more in a hotel, for example, for Luminara. Belgravia is more designed with the quiet luxury feeling, but the green space. So the reason why we haven't done a video is because he has a concept, especially for the common areas. When you first go in, there's going to be a 2-story waterfall, and then there's going to be a staircase situation that leads over to the restaurant. Then there's the lobby, and there's some other amenities down there that are going to be, I think you go into this property and you're going to feel the extra nice vibes. Because if you notice, we really just show the units, but what do the common areas look like? What does the hallway look like? And I don't mean to digress, but if you noticed in the content, we've been trying to show locations more. We've been trying to show outside more. And common areas are another important thing. So this balcony, I don't know if it's all the balconies. And this is why, again, it's still super early access. The balcony's depth, I know the biggest one is 2.2 meters, which is really big. It actually makes it much more usable versus some of these other balcony spaces. And then you see the greenery from Kilauea. So, and then actually, if you look at the top, you see it has a wood soffit. The only other place that I've seen that from, is it Pandora? Pandora has some finishing on the top as well. And again, like a more home type feel for his design. This is a 3-bedroom. Each one has a little bit different design. It's actually designed for different age groups and like point in your life. So this is a little bit for older, you don't have to be older, but it's kind of designed with a little bit older style. So let me know in the comments how you guys feel about that. A lot of wood. Also, I really like when there's a window for the sink at the kitchen. I think that makes a big difference. That's kind of something in the US that is pretty standard. Again, they're trying to incorporate the outside feel with the trees and stuff. I like the bathroom / washroom. You do get a tub. This is the 3-bedroom. This is another bedroom. And then I like this wall coverings that they have with the textured walls. I always like that. And this is like supposed to be a girl's room. Oh, how did we fall out? Yes. I like how the washrooms are. It's got that kind of earthy Italian feel. There's another bedroom. Got to ask them if all the wall cladding and everything comes standard. Wardrobes, wood doors, so that's nice. Floor to ceiling windows. I love these textured panels. I kind of want them. I like the wardrobes, how they are. So pretty simple, but classy, with the wood floor, wood doors. This is my favorite bedroom. This is in the 2-bedroom versions where they have these textured panels, which I don't know, I really like those. And then they even have it on the closet. The wardrobes, like this is my favorite thing. I've never seen anything like this in the market. I really like that. Yeah, see, that's for me. I love a big balcony, especially they got the lighting out here. They got the wood on the soffit. We would call that the soffit. The bottom of a roof is a soffit for outside. I don't know what you call it here. This is the 2-bedroom design concept. I think he's changing this light. Travertine tile for the backsplash. I think it is actually travertine, or it's micro etched. We have to get details on that. See, stone, wood looking things, very different in design than many things. Actually, it reminds me of Beacon. This is the 1-bedroom. So there's 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms. The other big feature is that they're going to have and you guys can read all this stuff. They have a DSQ version, and then they have a mini studio. It's 18 square meters, but it has its own balcony. It also has a small kitchen. So 18 square meters is 100. Oh, I'm sorry. How many square feet is it? I don't have the square footage there. Oh, yeah, I don't have the square footage for the 18 square meters, but it's basically like a micro or a mini studio, which I think is cool because you don't have to feel bad if you have people staying there. Actually, like if my brother came, maybe I'll put him over there so he has his own space, and because we get along, but we don't get along like that. So like he has his own space, and it's like a good size. It has more utility than the standard smaller DSQs, and I think it's a big selling feature. Not every unit has it, but I think this is a killer unit, the 2-bedroom with the mini studio. It's 140 or 143 square meters. There's a couple of different ones. The floor plans are not out yet. I saw the drawings. I'm going to try to get the raw drawings for now. If you are interested in this project, everything is available. The top floors are available. It also, okay, the other benefit is, let me bring this up. We're doing a lot here. Let me bring up, actually, I'm not going to bring up the price sheet. If you want the price sheet, let me know. But you know how you get a discount based off of how much deposit you put? You're going to get a bigger launch price, which is going to be the 50% deposit price, even if you do just 20%. So you're getting a quite significant discount for the pre-launch or launch price. Then you get our 3% discount on top of that. So, and you can get the top floor, you can get whatever unit, you can get whatever facing. So if you like the style and what Luminar is doing, you're looking for, I think, a place, long-term rental, although they do have 1 bedrooms and it'll be a very classy 1 bedroom Airbnb. There's not that many actually available. Most of them are 2 and 3 bedrooms, but there are some ones. And the ones start at, I think it's 6.8, 6.8 million Kenyan shillings, which is pretty attractive. I think those ones you could do Airbnb, but I think it's more of a place to live or a long-term rental, but classy. It's going to stand out, I think. So that's kind of like the vibe that they're going for. So there's that. I know I told Franklin and Abdi I was going to do 30 minutes. I'm at 42, so I'm going to hurry up and get to it. Let's give me a minute to do some of the comments, and then we're going to bring in Franklin. If you guys want more information, almasirealty.com/buy. We'll talk to you about it. We'll probably connect you with Mona and even maybe Jonas to get the details. We'll get more of the drawings and stuff. This is the thing. If you want the best stuff, you got to book it early. But some of that stuff's negotiable. So if you do like what you saw, you like the attitude that Luminar has, and Belgravia, if you like the style, you got to jump on it. Obviously, it's not everything's going to sell up, but the top floors are, once they're gone, they're gone. So that's what I'm saying. Okay. I can't wait. I'm just going to ask Franklin questions and let him do his thing. I'm tired already. Nima Choka. We like Oak West and Luminar and their presentation. We're looking into Oak West now, talking about the grout work. Glad you are insisting. Guys, they are getting better. Everybody's getting better. Well, most of the developers are getting better. For example, Diplomat surprised me with the quality. I feel very good about my purchase. I was a little worried about the quality, but they delivered on that, on their promise to increase their quality, which I don't believe claims until I see them. The oak, the people that do the oaks are pretty good for quality as well. Hooray, quiet luxury for the sun. Much better than shiny floors. See, it's catering to a different crowd, which I think is cool. And again, it speaks to a little bit of the artist in Jonas, the developer. I'm telling you, I've sat with him a lot. And I want to put him, I want to do another interview with him because I think you guys will see the passion. Actually, when I met Jonas, I was by myself. And then I was like, I called Kai, like, am I crazy? You got to meet this guy. Because I really think, like, he kind of wooed me where I'm like, I think I believe in what he's talking about, which I'm skeptical of everybody. So Kai came, and Kai was like, no, I think I agree. Like, I think it's the passion. We both are like, oh, wow. So I don't know. But I'll tell you, I'm biased. I like the guy. I like what he's trying to do. I feel like it's very similar to my attitude towards things. So, all right, enough on that. I could talk about it even more. Beautiful interior. Love the balcony view. Looks awesome. Ha ha. This is Franklin. Always looking forward to help you legally avoid those taxes. Yes, legally. Oh, what's happening? Are the wall panels and finishes standard? We're going to talk about that. If they're not standard, I'd have to buy them because those textured wall panels, I need that in my life. Lots of projects are being built. Hope the market is not going to be saturated. You know that conversation. I think first, investing in Kenya is risky. If you have better quality stuff, I think it protects you versus if you go the cheap route. Is this property close to Berkeley? Kind of. It's on Vahiga Road. It's on our map. If you go on the Almasi website and you look at the map for Belgravia, it's on there. We have the geo coordinates. Franklin, don't hold back. I love to hear the interesting, creative approaches. How much the one bedroom going for? 6.8, but that is the 100% down, so you're in the low sevens. Higher floors. Yep, you can get the top floor right now if you wanted it. Ryan, that Kenyan diet seems to be doing no. So don't let me lie to you. I'm on drugs, okay? I'm on an advanced version of Ozempic. I've been working out and everything, but I got to tell you, the drugs changed my life because I've lost. I gain weight, I lose weight, I gain weight, I lose weight. Anytime I have to lose weight, it sucks. It's a big struggle. You have to have all this discipline. The GLP-1s make you feel like a normal person when you eat. You just are not as hungry. And I love it, to be honest. They're not paying me to say that. That's the facts. We've had the same grout issue, and Ray had to make noise and get the... You guys know how. But look, at the Diplomat, they're using a silicone grout. Now, it's still a little messy in some areas when I looked at it last, but at least it doesn't turn brown in 2 days. Hi, Ryan. Have you visited Venus Oak? Yes, I have. Venus Oak, my analysis, real quick, and then we're bringing in Franklin. I don't love the quality, but for the price and location, it's somewhat reasonable because the pricing is lower than a lot of other competitors. I don't love it though. So to be fair, it's very mid, but it gets the job done. If you're looking for a 4-bedroom on a little bit of a discount in Nairobi, Kileleshwa, good location, because a lot of the other 4-beds are quite expensive. So that's my thoughts. Okay, without further ado, actually, a YouTuber complaining about buying a condo and all this truce about Kenya and all this stuff, and he was complaining about lawyers. That was the same complaint I was having until I found FKC Legal. They, out of everybody, I've probably dealt with 6, 7, 8 lawyers. They have been the best. They're focused on foreign direct investment, and it is a good alignment with what we're doing here on the channel. And so we have partnered up to, I refer people to them because you're going to get what you're supposed to get working with them without too much runaround. So without further ado, Franklin and Abdi from FKC Legal. Hey, I wish I had my my sounds. Hi guys. I don't know if Abdi is going to be able to, because he's on the iPad. Wait, we don't hear you. Wait.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I did it.
Can you hear me
No,
now?
don't press it.
Yes.
Yeah.
You muted me. How are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
Very, very good. Nice to see you again. In a minute since we did this kind of thing.
It's been a while. Can you introduce yourself for the people
it's really
that
good to be
don't
back
know?
here today. Yes. Yes. So my name is Franklin. I am the founder and managing partner at FKC Legal. Ryan has said a lot of things about FKC Legal, but what I would simply say we are is that we are a law firm based in Kenya, and we're in the business of solving people's problems, particularly problems with relation to investment, relocation, taxes, immigration. So we essentially work with clients and people from all over the world solving, the things that come as a result of, all these things. So, for example, you want to buy an apartment in Kenya, you want to buy land, someone stole your money, or there's a very loyal follower. Is it Nairobi Barbie? You don't want to pay taxes legally. We essentially we essentially work with people like you to find legal ways of doing these things. Personally, I have been practicing the law in this country for close to a decade.
Oh, wow.
So over that period of time, we've seen a lot of things, and we enjoy working with people like you. Our mantra is just start legally, because we believe that many people know what they're supposed to do. For example, they know how to run an Airbnb business, they know how to run a farm, they know how to do most of these things. But the biggest problem in penetrating the African market is, how do you start? For example, what is the first thing you do? Do you need a company? What are the requirements? And so what we do is just to enable you start and to do so legally. Today, I'm very happy that we can have a conversation. I thought that this was actually my idea to have this discussion today, because I've had so many questions from people, from you guys, on, if I'm buying an apartment, if I'm buying property, does that amount to residence, those kind of things. So I thought this was timely to be able to just answer all those questions. And I know there's a lot of clients who are here today. So today we're giving out free consultation. and if you've worked with us before, you know that we usually charge a consultation fee. So if you're here today, you're just getting this information free of charge.
Hey,
So
providing
take
value.
advantage.
So, some housekeeping. Super chats are appreciated with your questions. We'll try to get to everybody's individual questions. It's helpful if they're on topic. We can get to them sooner. If they're all a little off topic, then I'll hold them until there's a good time to talk about them. If you do the super chat, we'll probably interrupt everything for the super chat to get your question in there. So when you proposed the idea of this concept, I was like, okay, that's it right away, because it's the biggest question that I get, and I have to refer to you guys because everyone has like a different plan or a different strategy or different goals. And a lot of people are Googling things and using ChatGPT, and I do that as well. But I try to explain that what's on the books or things that you can look up are not exactly in practice how things work, and trying to decipher this information on your own is a bit risky and problematic, because what it says online and how these things actually work are quite difficult. Every day someone's asking me about Arthi Sasa, they're asking me about KRA pins. I've had horror stories of people trying to get KRA pins, register a company, all these things. So I'm glad that we're able to talk about this stuff. But I'm going to give it to you because I know that you've been talking to a lot of clients. Maybe give us the top couple things that you've been, the conversations that keep coming up, frequently asked questions, frequent issues, and then we'll start from there.
Yes. Wow. I think some of the most frequently asked questions for me have always been, if I'm actually, it is always the connection and relationship between investing and residency and taxes, and just living here. So one of the most common misconception is that if you're investing in property in Kenya, that you'll get an automatic residence in the country. This is a myth that we'll debunk today. I've also seen a lot of myth, for example, that says that as a foreigner, you cannot invest in Kenya. I had a call with an American recently, and they said, we know that Americans are not allowed to invest in Kenya. So that this kind of myth. There's the myth that if you invest in Kenya or in Africa, you will not be able to, move your money out of Africa. There are myths about what you need to get different kinds of residencies. And even worse, I have seen a lot of clients get into problems by getting wrong legal advice. For example, someone comes, instead of getting a correct advice on what visa to take, or what
Oh my
they
goodness.
get it to buy, they end up losing a lot of money. So these are some of the things that I've seen from many people. And I just thought it's, I'm happy to come and give all those clarifications today on live. As we do this
Can
conversation,
we
I'm just here
tackle
with my
that?
team. It's a conversation. Yeah. So we can actually start
Yeah.
from anywhere. I'm here
I,
to
I
have
want
an
to
open. Yeah.
I want to tackle the Class G investor permit
Yes.
right away because people think, oh, it's the investor permit and I'm an investor. I should do
Yes.
that one.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Can
Actually,
you
right,
speak to that?
there's also one that I want us to add. If you're married to a Kenyan, okay?
Mm,
If you're a foreigner married to a Kenyan, or if you're dating a Kenyan,
good
I'm not
luck.
pointing any fingers. So, um, uh, and if you've been married, if you've been married in Kenya, what does that mean for you? If you are married in the US, and you've married a
Mm.
Kenyan, for example, and you want to relocate, what does that mean? If you are an African, say from Congo, an African from Tanzania, what does it mean for you to invest in Kenya? So these are the things that we can talk about today, but we can literally pick it up from anywhere.
That's a good point.
Yes,
The marriage stuff, especially where you get married. I didn't even think about that. But
yes,
the first thing that came to my mind is the Class G investor permit because so many people think I'm buying property, I need to have an investor residency.
yeah, that's true. This, this is a misconception. I like to say that there should be a distinction between investment and residency. Okay, and how I like to explain it is that we have to imagine both of them as separate things. So let me break them down. You're buying an apartment, for example, or you're setting up a restaurant. It could be anything. It literally could be anything. You could, in one instance, set up this investment and never live in the country. So you have an investment in Kenya, Airbnb or whichever it is, but then you live in the US for the whole duration of the investment. But there's another scenario where you could have the same investment, but you want to move and relocate to Kenya, or you just want to just have some residency here. You see, what this means, therefore, is that just because you bought an apartment doesn't automatically give you the right to live in Kenya. Okay. When we talk about Class G, because Class G is actually, I would say, among the top three frequently asked questions on residencies and investor permits. Class G is essentially an investor's permit. And what it does is that it allows you to make any investment in Kenya. The threshold to obtain this investor permit in Class G is that at the point of making the application, and this is very important, at the point of making the application, you must demonstrate that you have at least 100,000 US dollars. Okay. Now, an important thing about this is that, and this is kind of like some bad news, but this 100K must be in a Kenyan bank account. Okay. Now, the thing is, though, that this is just a requirement that you must demonstrate that the money is available to you. Once you make the application, it is entirely up to you to either spend the money in the country or alternatively to repatriate it to back whichever country the money came from. Okay. So these are the requirements. So for example, if you're buying an apartment here and you want a Class G work permit, how we would usually advise you to go about it is that you get the apartment because you don't want to lose it, make a reservation, if possible, make some payment, and then if you have the bulk of the money, put it in a Kenyan bank account. And Ryan, just remind me to talk about how to get Kenyan bank accounts. Okay. So put it in a Kenyan bank account, get the permit, and then continue paying the developer. Okay. So unlike it was the position last year, because last year some laws were changed beginning of this year, effective this year, you must demonstrate that you actually have the money in cash. So the important takeaway thing here is that don't pay for the property and then apply for the permit. Book the property, apply for the permit, and then continue and complete paying for the apartment.
And this is because they changed how they interpreted that, right? Because
Sorry,
there
Ryan, I
used
can't
to
hear
be
you.
oh, can you hear me
Sorry,
now?
Ryan, I can't hear you.
Oh no.
Can you guys hear Ryan?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me? Is it Franklin?
For some
By the
reason, can you hear
way,
me, Ryan? Just do
Franklin,
this if you can
yeah, I
hear
can
me.
hear you.
No, I can't hear you for whatever reason.
Oh no. We hear
Oops.
you.
What
I don't
happened? Maybe the government is listening,
know.
but I can't hear you absolutely.
Wait, go out
Can you
and
guys
come
hear
back
Ryan?
in. Can you guys hear me? Did I drop out?
Wow.
No one's saying anything. They can
Let me
hear both of
just
us.
see.
It's you. It's you. Let me.
You can
Can
hear
you hear
both
me
of
now?
us? Ooh, oh, okay.
You
Oh,
gotta go.
Ryan, we're back to our problem.
Go out and come back in.
You want me to leave and come back? Okay. You see, I read lips.
he's an international guy, you know. Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. I have Willis Wilson's question, Baller future question, Mr. Mizook question. Miss, that's a lady in there, no? Class K. I was going to ask Franklin, why the heck would you pay? Because the Class uh, G investor permit
I can hear you,
is
Ryan,
more
if you can
money.
hear me.
Hey, okay. Yeah, you're good to
Thank
go.
God. Yes. Yes.
I don't know what happened. I was going
No
to
problem.
ask you, um, why should someone get that permit when it's more expensive? Oh, look, here's Abdi. Can we hear Abdi?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Loud and clear,
Uh,
Abdi. Good to see you.
yeah. Good to see you. Carry on,
The
carry on.
government is listening. Okay,
Yes.
yeah. Welcome, Abdi, is the other part of FKC.
Yeah,
Yes.
sorry, I'm out of town, so my internet maybe might not be stable.
Yeah, it's at the coast
Yeah.
where I
Yes.
should be at.
So, Ran, let me answer your question, and I see questions are coming in thick and fast.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but let me answer your question as to why one would go for a Class G permit and not any other permit while it is expensive. So, in terms of cost, let me just put it out there so that you know what you're talking about when you say the cost. Getting the Class G permit, the investor permit, would cost you anything up to $6,000 in terms of government fees, legal fees, and facilitation fees. Okay. Now, there are other forms of residencies, and I see people are asking about Class K, about Class D, so we'll talk about them. But one advantage that the Class G gives you is that you are able to do any form of business in Kenya or any form of investment. Okay. And I'll just give you an instance where you may actually need it, an instance where you actually do not need it. For example, if you're running an Airbnb and you're based in the US, and this is a majority of the people, you just buy an apartment here, but you live in the US or in the UK or in DRC, I see someone is from DRC, you don't really need this permit. And we'll talk about how you can navigate that. This is a permit that is especially important for people who want to relocate here and run active businesses here. Okay. So you want to be here, you want to get into shipping business, you want to do some restaurant, you want to do some active work, then this is a permit for you. But if you're just a passive investor, in our view, it is just expensive, but there are other options available for you that we'll talk about.
And to make the distinction, tell me if
Yes.
I'm wrong, the reason that you would pay the extra money for that is that it comes with the work permit. Some of the residencies do not give you a work permit to actively work in the business, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So actually, yes, it allows you to be able to work in the company that you set up or in the investment that you set up. I had a call with a client recently. I don't know if he's here on the live. So there is a way that you can actually still run your business, have your investors. So it is possible, but the problem is that you'll have some limitations as to the kind of influence and how long you can stay in the country. But essentially, this just allows you to be here, have 100% residency here. The one thing that I also want to just add about Class G, but this is also applicable to all other permits, is that if you apply and say you are married or you have children, it is possible for you to apply just one person and then your spouse and children get a dependence pass. Okay. So if you have a family, I
Oh,
saw someone saying that they have 4 children, and we'll come to that. in that situation, you don't have to apply like multiple applications. Just one application is sufficient, and then dependent
Oh,
process for the people. Yes.
that's good to know. Because
Yes.
I see people doing relocation, and I'm like, geez, are they paying for residency for 5, 6, 7 people? Oh my goodness. Okay.
Actually, if Ryan, if you're relocating, and this is also a big thing now, you simply just have to get one form of residency, any kind of a residency, either preferably as the man, and I'll talk about why it is a man. I'm not being I'm not being I'm not being biased, but
Oh, the
you should
feminist is
get
coming.
one. Yeah, I know. Please don't come for me. I will explain. Let me just explain why. So under Kenyan laws, it is possible for either person to be dependent on the other person. What this means is that it is possible for the wife to make an application and then the husband becomes a dependent. Okay, so the law presupposes this position. However, in reality, because of the African understanding of things, in cases where we have had people apply as men getting dependents for, as a result or under their wives, that has always been rejected, especially if the man is anything in the age of like 30 to 50. They would usually deny that application. The reason why they deny the application is that they said that the man should work. So the wife should not provide dependence on the man. The man should apply for work permit. But in cases where the man is, say, in the late 50s, the man can then get a dependent pass because the presumption is that they have retired, they're being looked after. So that is the reason why. Yes. So we
So a
prefer.
man cannot be a dependent generally.
Yes.
An
And
able-bodied man cannot be a dependent in Kenya from a Kenyan wife.
yes, but if you quote me anywhere else, Ryan, I will categorically refuse. But the answer is yes.
I wouldn't
Yes.
want to be called a dependent either, though.
I wouldn't mind being taken care of. I'm happy to be a dependent.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's me.
We're
Yes,
learning. We're
yes.
learning about Franklin here. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Very good. Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Let's get to some of these questions. Ooh, there's a good one down here from Baller
Yes.
Future. But hold on. Let me keep it in order here. Willis Wilson, question for Franklin. Is it possible to use a local Kenyan KRA PIN to operate your Airbnb and avoid the higher taxes that come with being a foreigner? Are the taxes higher?
No. Actually, you see now, where's that question? I'm looking for that question. This is from who? From, is
Willis
this
Wilson.
Willis? Willis, this is a really good question. And this is actually one of the things that we're talking about as a misconception, which we're here to deal with today. Okay. Now, would you be surprised if I told you that the rate of taxes on Airbnbs is the same for you as a resident or you as a non-resident? Would you be surprised? I'll explain to you. Okay. Now, but Ran, because I know this is a question that is gonna come, so I'm just going to talk about it in a very expansive way for Willis and everyone else who's watching. Let me talk about taxes that attach on properties, because I know there's a lot of people here who have properties. If you're buying property, there are three kinds of taxes that the property would be subject to. Okay, the first possible tax is called monthly rental income tax, or MRI. Okay, now monthly rental income tax, or MRI, is a tax that is applicable to properties where you get monthly rental income. So, for example, if you have a property, you've rented it out, and you have a long-term tenant who pays you monthly rent, then under the law, you pay MRI tax, and this is a standard 7.5% of the gross rental payment. I hope this is clear. So, if a tenant pays you 100,000 shillings every month, you're supposed to pay 7,500 Kenyan shillings as tax. However, if you are a foreigner, and this is where sometimes it gets complicated, because if you look online on the tax website, they say non-residents are exempt. So it gets a bit confusing. What this essentially means is that they're exempt from paying that tax on a monthly basis. So if you're a foreigner and you get paid, say, $1,000 every month, it is not practical for you to pay every single month 7.5% of that. It's just difficult. What you do is that at the end of the year or at the end of 12 months, you come to FKC Legal and then you file taxes for the whole year. But still, the applicable rate will be 7.5%. So if you're getting paid $1,000 in 12 months, this is $12,000. You pay 7.5% of that, which is the same as a person would have paid 7.5% on a monthly. Ryan, I hope this is clear.
Very clear, very clear.
Good. Second option, and I'll come to Willie's question, but I just want to make it very broad so I can answer most of the questions that I anticipate. So, Willis, when you're running an Airbnb, there are two kinds of taxes that you can decide to work for you. Okay, because you see, an Airbnb is different from monthly rental income because you get paid on a daily. So some days you have someone, some other nights the property is vacant. In this kind of instance, one option for you is to pay a standard 5% of your gross income. Okay, so if you've got in this month $1,000, you pay 5% of the $1,000. If next month you got $500, you pay 5% of $500. We're together. So this is one possible option for your rental payment for Airbnb. The other option is that you can set up the Airbnb in a way that it is you can run it as a company. Okay, in which case you're allowed to have income versus expenses, and then you pay taxes on the net income. I will break this down. So imagine this month you made $1,000 out of your Airbnb. Your input expenses in terms of the cleaning lady, the internet, the power, the electricity is, say, $500, for example. What you'll be required to pay is 30% of the remaining $500. Okay. Now, in another instance, sometimes we have clients, and this is how we structure it for them. We also, we say that there are some costs beyond just the monthly cost. There's some costs that you incur in the course of setting up the Airbnb. For example, you buy furniture, you buy the property. So at the end of the day, you have your expenses maybe to about 70,000 US dollars, or even 100, just for ease of mathematics. We essentially spread these expenses for you over a long period of time. Okay, so that if, for example, this month you made $1,000, your cost for that month was $500, we'll create for you an additional expense. For example, payment of a loan in the purchase of that property. And then the payment of that loan, for example, we would put it as $500. So essentially, this month you have made zero profits. And what is 30% of zero, Ryan? Zero, exactly. So this is a third option, and I hope Willis is getting this. Now, how this works, the second and third option for Airbnb, is that you can start with this first option. This option where you're paying 30% because you can then spread your expenses. If you finish your expenses at some point, then you can go into the 5% standard. Okay. Now, in terms of getting the KRA PIN, Willis, you must absolutely not get or put your Airbnb under Kenyan's KRA PIN. It is absolutely dangerous, because should this Kenyan have tax liabilities, then you will shoulder that risk. So they will come for your Airbnb, because they will know that this is an income for this Kenyan, and then they will essentially attach on it. The best and smart way to do it, Willis, is to set up a Kenyan company, which is very simple, as a matter of fact. Set up the Kenyan company, put the Airbnb in the Kenyan company, and then the Kenyan company will have its own KRA PIN. And for those who don't know, KRA essentially stands for Kenya Revenue Authority, or the tax PIN, or if you're from the US, it is an equivalent to your social security number. So get the company registered, let the company have its own social security number, and let the company pay its own taxes without attaching on you personally. And I'll talk about this. I know there's going to be a question. I'll talk about it later. But I hope this is clear.
You could tell Franklin's answered this question many times, because that is the most clear way to cover a lot of that stuff. And it's complicated with the taxes, the KRA PIN.
Yes.
That's good. That's good.
Yes.
Darnell, $5 super chat. Thank you. Ryan, congrats on the new business. I shared your info with a friend looking to buy. I'm also interested in Luminara's next or a new Kilauea development. Yeah, man, check out it's on the website. If you have more information or have more questions, let me know. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Keep your questions coming. I'm registering them when they come in. Baller L, the future is your money or down payment. Oh, wait, before I read this, Franklin, do you know any people at banks that do mortgages?
Yes, this is a good question. As a matter of fact, yes, there are. It is possible to get a mortgage. So this was one of the first questions that came at the very beginning. Yes, it is possible for you as a foreigner to actually get a loan in Kenya, but
Really?
essentially, yes. But I'll explain how this works.
You have to
Okay.
be a resident.
No, not really. So I'll explain
What?
to you. Yes. And we've actually done this for so many clients. How it works is that you essentially, as much as possible, you should prefer to run your businesses and investments through a company. And we'll talk about this. We'll talk about the reason why. So once you set up a company in Kenya, and just so if you're out there and you're wondering the process and complication and cost of setting up a company in Kenya, it is one of the simplest thing. In fact, it is the second simplest service that we offer. The first simplest service is getting you the KRA or the tax pin, because it literally takes 1 day and it costs you just $180. Okay, so this is just very clear and open for you. Secondly, if you're setting up a company, it is also fairly fast. It will take you just 3 days to set up the company. You see? So, and you can literally do it as a foreigner. You don't have to ever be in the country at any point. You can literally just set up from the US. You never need to be in the country and it is set up. There is no annual maintenance cost. There is no exorbitant fees on a yearly basis. So how it would work for you to get the loan is that you set up this company in Kenya. You all know this concept of separate legal personalities. So what this means is that the person and the company are separate legal personalities. For example, let me pick someone, Stacy Chanel. Yeah, I can see Stacy Chanel is here. So lovely to see Stacy. So imagine Stacy Chanel is setting up Chanel. She's setting up a Kenyan company called Chanel Kenya Limited. Chanel Kenya Limited is a Kenyan citizen. Okay, while Stacey Chanel herself is not a Kenyan citizen. Okay, the company that Chanel has set up here is a Kenyan resident. And so essentially how we do, and as a matter of fact, we even have so many clients who have gone to the banks. In fact, it is banks who come and tell you, please, can we give you a loan? Because how you do it, you'd set up the company. They would give you, obviously, like any other bank, they want to see that you're making some money. So if you're running a business through the company, either an Airbnb, restaurant, or whatever, you then apply for loan under this company. Okay, so the loan will not be yours as Stacy Chanel, it will be your company's. Okay, and that you get the loan. You don't have to be a resident here, and the bank is very happy to give it to you because, as a matter of fact, they can see the business coming into the company. So the answer is yes, it is possible, Ryan, and it is possible by setting up the company and then the company obtaining a loan. And we've had good success on this. In fact, the banks will tell you, please take a loan.
I had
Okay.
no idea about that. I'm glad I asked
Yes.
because people ask
Yes.
about loans and mortgages all the time. And I'm like,
Yes.
I don't think you can. I've been telling people the wrong things. See?
Yeah.
Yikes.
No, as a matter of fact, you can. But Ran, let me just talk about mortgage. And you know when you say some of these words, of course for you you're saying them as a layman, but for me they spark legal things. So for me a loan and a mortgage is different. Yeah. So if you're a Kenyan and you're watching, and Ryan, I see we have so many people watching here today. We're over 100. So if you're a Kenyan and you're watching, you can actually get a loan called KMRC, or
Yeah,
Kenya Mortgage Finance Corporation. Okay.
that's good.
And essentially, this is a loan that has been designed by the Kenyan government to give loans to Kenyans. So if you're a foreigner and you've obtained citizenship or permanent residence, you can get it. If you're a Kenyan, even if you live in the US and you're a Kenyan, you can get this loan that has been negotiated by the government. And the interest rate is a flat 9.5%. Okay. And they give you up to 105% financing. So you don't even have to have a single shilling. They give you more than you need. So the 105% is 100% for the purchase of the property and 5% for your legal fees, stamp duty, your all those outgoings. So you can get it, and then you can spread it over as many years as you want, up to 15 years. Okay. So if you're a Kenyan and you want to buy property, you can literally get this negotiated government mortgage, and you're good to
And
go.
for Kenyans, I did want to point this out because there are scenarios, I think, when you can do this loan and the mortgage can be less than what the rent could be in that particular building. So
Yes.
buying could be cheaper than renting, which for us in the US, that used to be, that's how I started. I was buying at cheaper prices than to rent because I had a good credit score. I was able to get qualified for the bank. So I think that's kind of a newer concept here. And I guess with this, that's a newer program because the rates were higher until the government got involved, right?
Yes.
So I
And
think it's a good option for a lot of Kenyan citizens.
And as a matter of fact, also Ryan, for our Kenyan followers and viewers, it's absolutely possible for you to also get into a scheme called rent to buy or rent to own. And essentially what this means, imagine you're living in a place, you're paying your rent of 50,000 shillings. You can as well just get into a scheme, which you can talk to you about if you just get in touch with FKC Legal. And it is possible for you to pay that rent in a property that you're owning, so that in a couple of years you actually own the property than just paying rent and the money disappears. And this is another thing that most Kenyans don't know. But it's also an option available also for foreigners. So if you want to live here, if you want to relocate in the country, for example, you're from the US, you want to relocate here, you can get into a scheme of rent to own. Even if you don't have the money at the beginning, just rent it in a course of owning, and then after some time the property becomes yours. And it's for me, if you ask me, it could be a better option than to pay all this rent and at the end of the day you own nothing.
We're going to have to
Okay.
spend some time on that, see what sellers are willing to do that, because that's, we get a lot of those kind of questions, and that could be a solution. Willis Wilson, $5 super chat. What's the typical interest rate on those company loans?
Yes, usually the loans would depend from bank to bank and also on the duration. So, for example, longer period loans are anything beyond 3 years. The interest rate would go lower, but any interest below 3 years would be anything in the region of 12 to say 16%, depending on how you negotiate. Okay. So this would be the usual rate. It's a bit higher than the American scenario, I'm sure, but there's a reason for that, and it just works perfectly. However,
Not
again,
unsecured.
if you're
Unsecured,
getting
you might be looking at higher rates like 9, 10, 11,
okay.
something like that.
In this case, it's around that figure, except the KMRC that I talked about, which is a flat 9.5%.
I think this question is actually Abdi might have some good stuff for this, because this may get close to force majeure and all that stuff. Baller L, the future, is your money or down payment insured if a building collapses? Are the projects insured by developers? I do know that most of them have to carry insurance, but for example, the recent collapse, what happens with that?
Okay, let me explain. Hi everyone. Good to
Hey,
have you on board. I don't know if I'm very much audible.
yeah, we hear you.
Good. So let me explain. So he's asking if a building collapses, are the projects insured by developers? In most cases, yes, it's one of the requirements, and it's usually even addressed in the sales agreement itself. So you just have to be careful. When does the insurance elapse? Because sometimes what they usually do is they will tell you that in the course of construction, if anything happens, it's the developer who takes liability, and it's upon him now or that company to sort that out. But once they complete, you have to be careful, because if they complete and they're yet to get what we call a certificate of occupation, and then they say our insurance policy cover has run out, that means now their corporation, which ideally should be in place, should now take out an insurance cover for the entire project. I usually try to force them to extend it from the completion period to the handover period, so that time bomb starts ticking from the handover, not the completion period. So insurance always goes hand in hand with the risk element. So risk and insurance should pass at the time of handover and not completion. Yeah. So, but before completion, it should be covered by the developer, ideally. Yes.
Can I ask, like with example, the Hosconsult property on School Lane that had a partial collapse?
Yes.
What happened? Like, what's going to happen with that? I would not want to complete that transaction at that point. Do I have any recourse? Okay, like, can I get out of it? Like, how does that work?
No, no, no. So long as if there's a breach, if there's a material breach which affects the agreement. Now you see if there's an accident or maybe there's an element of force majeure, the contract redresses all those issues. So if there's a breach which materially affects this project to the extent that they can no longer proceed with the construction, yes, then you can forfeit and you'll be reimbursed all your monies. But if they still have an opportunity with their insurance cover and the company to fix this breach and carry on with the construction, you will have no recourse, rather, or no right whatsoever to withdraw from the transaction. And if you do that, then you will be liable to forfeit your 10% deposit.
Ooh. Yikes.
Yeah. Right.
Investing is not without risk. Okay.
Yes, it comes with its own risk. That's why off-plan is cheap, but the risk is high.
I like how you said that. All right, Jesse Whitehorn, member and $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we have the rest of your guys' questions as well. Can I apply for the Class K permit without locating as of now, but can spend about 3 weeks a year there, get the process started, and pay the fees so when I retire in 11 years, I can buy freehold and I can act?
Ryan, let me take this question from Jesse. Okay. And I really like this question. Jesse reminds me of a good number of our clients. I don't know if we have any Jamaicans in the building, but we have
There's a lot of
number
Jamaicans.
Yes, Wagwan, Jamaica.
Wagwan.
Yeah. So I have seen this with a lot of our mostly Caribbean clients. We have a good number of clients from Jamaica, from Barbados, from the Caribbean countries. Now, it is absolutely possible for you to apply for a Class K permit, okay? And it is possible for you to apply without being in the country. And so this question is good because I know it's going to answer a lot of the questions that most of you guys have. So I'll answer it again in a very collective way so that I can just answer most of those questions at the same time. For any of the various permits or residencies, it is absolutely possible for you to apply without being in the country. So this is an important point. The only point in time when you need to be in the country is upon issuance and approval. You will need to come to the country at least once to come and give your biometrics so that you can have an alien card or an ID card. Okay. Now, before that, you have no legal obligation whatsoever to be in the country at any point in time. So you can apply. And this is not just for Class K, but for Class G, Class D, Class I, every other different class. You can apply without being in the country and only need to come to the country at the point of approval. And we'd always tell you, you're going to get approval, and then you can always plan. Okay, so this is a general note. Now, talking about Jesse, actually, the other thing, even before I come to Jesse, the other thing, in all of these residencies, there is no obligation for you to be in the country for the duration of that permit. I know this is always a big question, especially from Americans, because I know like Africans or foreigners who have green card or some kind of residency in the US, they always have an obligation that they can't be out of the country for more than 6 months. So this is not the case in Canada. As a matter of fact, we have clients who we did applications for them beginning of last year. They came for the thing, they went, and they will come back again after 2 years when their visa expires. You see? So what I'm saying is that you don't need to be in the country at any point. Even if you're saying you can be here for like 3 weeks, you can do that, but you have no legal obligation. The law requires at the point of applying for citizenship that you need to prove at least 7 years of continuous residency. So you just must demonstrate that, you know what, I was a resident for the past 7 years by attaching your approved residencies, and then you qualify to become a citizen. Okay. So you don't need to be here every 3 weeks every year. You can literally just disappear. Now, coming more specifically to Jesse, Jesse, I know what you are thinking in your mind, and it is a good thing. Although I've seen sometimes people get into this kind of a problem, and we have a good case that you're dealing with now, where a lady came and said, you know what, they went to a lawyer who was, most lawyers in Kenya are good, but they don't have the wholesome understanding. So at least we have a very broad understanding. So they went and said, you know what, I want to retire in Kenya. And then she was relocating to Kenya. And then the lawyer applied for her this Class K permit. So for anyone who's wondering what Class K permit is a retiree's permit. So they said, you know what, I want to retire. The lawyer says, say less, let's get a Class K retiree's permit. A few months down the line, she buys, so at that point she was buying a property. A few months down the line, she buys a second property. She goes back to the lawyer. The lawyer says, hold on, you can't get a second property. Why? You can't invest. Why? Because you're in the wrong permit. Okay. Now, we're having to do some work for her now, and she's essentially lost $6,000. Can you imagine? Because of getting wrong legal representation. The appropriate and right approach should have been at the point of making this application. So it's good that we understand what your vision is. When she made this application, the best way would be for her to get a Class G permit, the investor's permit. Do you know why? Because the fees and the government fees and all the associate fees for getting a Class K retirees permit and a Class G investor's permit are exactly the same. So what I'm saying is that if you're coming to the country and you want to retire, you're going to spend the same money that you'd spend in getting the investor's permit. So might as well get the investor's permit. Even if you don't use it, in a couple of months, you may decide to get into any form of business. Okay. So this is an important pointer. Specifically to Jesse.
If you have the money.
Yes, if you have the money, exactly. If you have the money. Now, specifically to Jesse, what I would advise is not Class K, the retiree's permit. I would advise a simple permit such as something we call Class N, or a digital nomads permit. Okay. Why this is because the digital nomads permit could save you anything up to $3,000 in every application. Okay. And how this would work is that you simply make the application. It also gives you residency, and this could actually last for up to 2 or 3 years. Okay. The only requirement that you need to show is that in your country of where you live in your country, that you have, or that you earn at least $2,000 a month. So if you can demonstrate that, then you can apply for the nomads visas, the digital nomads visas permit, and it gives you residency in the country. Okay, and it saves you anything between $2,000 to $3,000 at the point of making the application. Why I'm saying this is a possible option for Jesse is because when I read Jesse's text, I see that Jesse is thinking more like they don't want to live in the country for now, but they want to plan their retirement. Okay. So how you do it for now, Jesse, is that you'd get the digital nomads permit, save yourself a couple of thousands of dollars. When you finally want to relocate to the country, you can then apply for the necessary permit. But you see, if you're retiring in 11 years, after 2 or 3 applications, you just simply apply for citizenship. Okay. So even before you come into the country, you qualify and become a citizen. By your 11 years at the point you're retiring, you're already a Kenyan citizen. And yes, you can buy freehold property. So I hope this is very elaborate, but I hope it answers most of the question. I know there's going to be questions about freehold, but I just want to limit myself to the question of, this permits.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So other than the Class K, you would suggest N for him just because it's cheaper.
Yes.
And I want to emphasize that, guys, like, this is what I'm saying. People say, I'm an investor, so I should do an investor permit. I'm retired, I should do a retirement. That's not necessarily the case. That's a big thing that I want to stress.
Actually, Ryan, let me just make a comment on that. And this is, again, one of the biggest misconceptions. You see, when you come and talk to us, one thing that we tell you is that, yes, we want to hear you, but we want you to forget everything that you have read. Okay? Because of the same thing. You see, when you go online and say, oh, I want to retire, retiree's permit. Oh, I'm an investor, investor's permit. I'm an employee, employee's permit. This essentially puts you in a situation where you can actually get the wrong kind of thing, because you're having a targeted approach. But how we look at it is, what is the best thing for you? Do you really, of course, you want a Class K, but do you really need a Class K at this point? And can you help you save some money here and there? Because I like what Nairobi Barbie said. If we can help you save some money, especially if this money would have been paid to government in terms of tax, we'll definitely do everything that is necessary to do that, okay? So when you come, forget about the fact that you're an investor, you are a retiree. Let us just understand what your vision is, and then we just, chart the path together. So that's a good point, Ryan.
Absolutely. Actually, I did this, even though I'm cool with Franklin, we talk all the time. When it came time to do my stuff, he said the same thing. Forget whatever
Yes.
you know, even though I'm pretty well informed. And I was like, okay, here's what I'm doing.
Yes. Yes.
And then he gives me the best suggestion.
How I look at it is like, when you go to a doctor, you say, I think I have malaria, or I think I have, malaria is not common in the US, I don't know. But, I think I have pneumonia, give me pneumonia medicine, So a quack doctor would be like, good, here's pneumonia medicine. But a good doctor would be like, hold on, let me take your vitals, let me check your temperature, have you been sleeping, are you eating, let's do some tests. Even if they think it is pneumonia, they just want to have an understanding. And that's also how we approach it.
And you know what it is, though? Because it is a low trust environment for someone coming, they are trying to arm themselves with information, which makes sense.
Yes.
Hence the partnership, because hopefully, they don't, they don't have to be on guard as much with working with you guys, and it's kind of but I understand where they're coming from with that.
Yes,
but then
absolutely.
You try to do your own research, and now you're crashing out into a situation that's not the best for you. So, okay, Willis Wilson, member, $5 super chat again. Thank you. I'm both a U.S. citizen and a St. Lucian citizen. Would it be easier to apply using my Caribbean passport or go through the U.S. route? Best option. And then actually we have someone from the DRC that asked a very similar question. They were born in DRC. Can they buy property? Is that better, basically?
Yes, I saw the question on the person from DRC. I think let me start with okay. Let me start with.
They're from DRC, but they're a British citizen.
Okay. Okay. Very, very good. So let me start with. I don't know how you say this, Miss Zook. I hope I'm getting that, Mr. Miss Zook. So for you, I would specifically for you, I would suggest using your DRC passport. Okay. The reason is because again, and there's a point that Ryan made. When you work with us, we have really made it a point because we know that many people take advantage of you as a foreigner. They also want to, people imagine foreigners just have money raining from heaven. But the kind of clients that we usually work with most of the times are not necessarily. I would say they're not really rich people. They're just average people saving, regular families. So we essentially have as a principle that we don't take advantage of you. And if you can save your money, we actually save your money. Even if taking a different route would mean more legal fees for us, we prefer you saving money now and us retaining your relationship in the long run. We think that if we find a way that you save a couple of thousands now, and then we retain your relationship for the next 10 years, we'll make more money with you. Okay? Now, for example, for our good friend from DRC, we'd prefer that you do the DRC passport. Now, any lawyer would tell you that use a British passport because it is a strong passport, but this is not true. From an immigration standpoint, if you have a DRC passport, you are most likely, and you most likely fall under the East African community. Okay? If you fall under the East African community, do you know that for you to get a work permit in Kenya or any form of residency, your government fees is free? Did you know that, Ryan? Yeah. So if you have a DRC passport or any East African passport, while Ryan, the rich man, is paying $6,000, $5,000 for government fees to get residency, you essentially pay zero. Okay, so for a good friend from DRC, for you specifically, I would prefer that you use a DRC passport just because it gives you that option. Of course, we'll still charge you some legal fees. There'll be some small facilitation fees here and there, but you'll essentially save up to $4,000 or $5,000 on that DRC passport, and you essentially get residency as an East African community member. You have you have residency. You have a work permit. If you have a spouse, they can become a dependent, and you've saved thousands of dollars. Okay. Now, coming to the other question on US or the Caribbean passport, I would say it depends with what you want to do. Okay. What I have noticed, Caribbeans, in my view, are the easiest people to assimilate in Africa. I don't know why, but they essentially fit in Africa really, really well. Okay. And I've traveled to so many African countries, as you're aware, if you follow me, but I've seen that Caribbeans adapt the easiest. Now, so in terms of mindset, the mindset that you should bring is as much as possible the Caribbean mindset. But when you're talking about immigration and residency, for you, I would prefer the US passport. The reason is this. So the question is not clear for what purpose, so I'll just give again a broad description. So I'm sure it will be one of the two. You could want, for example, just an ability to access the country, just to come in the country, stay for a couple of months, go back. Maybe you don't have any desire to move here in the long run, but you just want to have access. We can apply for you what is called an MJV, or a multiple journey visa, which is a visa that is allowable to US passport holders. And what this means is that with that MJV, you essentially have a 5-year visa to Kenya. So it's 5 years. Remember, that's a good time. And at any given point in time, you can stay in the country for up to 6 months. Okay, so Wilson, if you're coming to the country and you just want to save on your money, we'll get this MJV for you, and it's just once in 5 years. And once you get it, you have access to the country at least 6 months without having to leave. After 6 months, you'll have to exit for like a day and then come back and then start another 6 months. Now, although this essentially just gives you residency, it doesn't necessarily give you a right to work, but it allows you to invest. And I'll give a distinction between investment and work briefly. So, but this is an option that is available for you. Why this option is available is because it will save you thousands of dollars again. Getting this MJV would cost you less than $300. Again, this will save you a lot than spending thousands of dollars in getting what you don't need. So again, really, Wilson, it really depends on what you want. The second option, if you want to come and say work here, you want to come and relocate more permanently, I would still use an American passport. Why? Because in a sense, the American passport is presumably strong, so it makes your process faster, much easier. And America is a bit aligned to the US, so it gives you a better advantage. So preferably, essentially those are the reasons why. So that I don't forget, I want to explain to you the difference between working and investing. And I like using examples, okay? Now, let me pick a random person. Mr. America, my good friend, good to see you. So Mr. America now is investing in the country. For example, Mr. America buys an apartment, okay? Runs an Airbnb or has a long-term rental in Kenya. He is an investor. Mr. America does not need to have a work permit. He doesn't need to have any special form of residency. He simply just needs to have a Kenyan company or a company registered in Kenya, and remember again what we talked about, the separate legal personalities. So the company is Kenyan, the company is a resident in Kenya. Mr. America will have 100% shareholding in the company. And so what this means is that Mr. America is an investor in his company. And to show you how this is such a simple logic, I like to use, if I come to the US today, I can buy stocks or shares from Microsoft or Meta or Google, right? I don't need to have an American passport or an American visa. It's the same thing. The only thing is that in this case, you own shares in your own company. Now, this is a clear and good example of when you're investing. So if you're investing, The only thing you need is a KRA pin or the tax pin, an equivalent of a social security number. This is different from employment. If you're employed, let me use another example of Yugotabe. Yugotabe wants to move here. Let's imagine Yugotabe is Ethiopian. He wants to move here. He wants to set up a restaurant in Kenya. Okay. A work permit or him having employment would be for him coming here and getting employed in an Ethiopian restaurant like Abyssinia or Awash, Now that is employment. What is the difference? In employment, someone is giving you work. So you report to someone, the company doesn't belong to you. In that case, you need a work permit. Okay. In investment, like Mr. America, you own the shares in a company. You don't need residency. I hope this distinction is clear again, Ryan.
Very clear, very clear. Hopefully everyone understands.
Yes, absolutely.
Sid causing trouble. All Black Americans do is complain, especially when they fail. I saw you talking trash to O'Shea in the live, and then he was talking trash back. Let's go to the next question. I guess briefly on this one, because we kind of covered it. Oh, no.
No, I'm back. Sorry,
What
I'm back.
happened?
No, don't worry. I'm not leaving you, Ryan.
Oh, okay.
I'm not leaving you,
Please
yes.
give a case example, Class K retirement, family of 5, 40K US dollar pension. Is that acceptable?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's absolutely. Because this is a Baller. I like the name Baller the Future. Good. Please give case example of Class K. Good. Now, again, Class K is a retiree's permit. Ryan, I hope you can see me, right? I'm visible in your screen.
Yeah, I see you.
Good. Yeah. So Class K, Bola, is again a retiree's permit. Okay. You can get this this Class K permit. You'd have to be at least 35 years old. I really believe you're 35 years old, but I suspect you are. So it is available for you. The only requirement that you must demonstrate is that you earn or you make at least $2,000 US dollars a month or equivalent. Okay. So if you can demonstrate, so 40,000 is actually a lot of money if you ask me, because at the point of application, they just need to see at least 24,000 USD. That is $2,000 for every, for the 12 months. So it's sufficient. And under this Class K or retirees permit, you'd get the permit. And then your spouse would also get dependent passes. And your children also, the family of 5 would also get dependent passes. Good question
okay
that I know might come.
Pension income? Because it's not from working, right? Like you're just getting something from, okay.
Actually, if you ask me, this is even the best because you see, pension. Nothing speaks retirement better than pension, So yes, It's absolutely possible. It's absolutely possible for you, Bola, to do that. And a question that sometimes come, there is no restriction as to the number of dependents you can have. Bola, sometimes I know this happens to some families. You even have cases on clients who bring their fathers or their mothers, especially when they're elderly, and even those can become dependents. So that doesn't have to be your kids only, it can be your spouse and also your parents. Okay?
Okay.
Yes.
That's good to know. I thought each person had to do it. That's good.
No. Yes.
Cypher 6210. I'm Kenyan, married to an American. I have a Kenyan ID, but no valid Kenyan passport. What's up with that? First of all, I've talked to a lot of people that are Kenyan with no documentation. Anyway, can we invest in my name to start?
Ooh, this is good, Cypher. And by the way, shout out to all the Kenyans in the building again. Ryan, I wish you had, I wish you had those DJ things.
I usually do. I don't have it on my laptop.
Yes. So shout out to all the Kenyans in the building. If it was Ryan, Ryan would be like, Habari gani? Like, what is that YouTuber? He's called I Show Speed. Habari gani. So shout out to all the Kenyans in the building. Now, first of all, if you're a Kenyan and you don't have a passport, please just talk to us. We can sort that out for you really, really easy. In just a couple of days, you'll have your passport. Okay?
Couple of days.
Even rather, we have in the past, I'd say in the past 2 months, we've had Kenyans. Before I come to this question, we've had Kenyans who have lived in the US for a long time, and some who have lost their IDs. Okay, because you stay there, you forget, and then you come back, you want to invest, you don't have an ID. So we've had maybe 4 cases in the past 2 months, and we've helped all those Kenyans get IDs. So sometimes, you're in the US, you have a passport, then you lose your ID, come to us. We got it for some people in just a few days. Okay, so
What?
please come
I
to
had some
us.
friends complaining
Oh,
it took a month to
yes.
get a
No,
passport as a Kenyan.
I'll tell you, I will not mention names, but we have someone who came to us. We began the process with them on Friday. So this is Sunday. We began the process with them on Friday, like 2 days ago. By Tuesday or Wednesday, this coming week, they'll have an ID. Can you imagine? You know why, Ryan? Because we know people.
Because you know the president. That's what people
People,
think
yeah.
when they see your name.
And essentially, that's why I don't use my second name. But essentially, essentially what we do, if you're a foreigner or if you're a Kenyan, we like to give you premium legal services and legal support because we don't want having any troubles with Ryan. So essentially, we'd escort you to the police station. We'd make sure that you get the abstract very quickly, so there's no bribe being paid to the police station, to the police. We'd also escort you to the specific place where they process Kenyan IDs, and you'd give your fingerprints, and then you'd get the waiting card. So in one day, we'd be able to do all these things for you in a way that you feel really valued. So again, for a good
Yeah.
friend here, if you don't have a passport, just talk to us. It is absolutely doable. Now,
Franklin just walks in the state house, and they know him by name. So
I mean, but do I say? So again, I just want to talk about a friend here before I answer the question again. On the question of marriage, also if you are a foreigner and you've married a Kenyan, or you're Kenyan, you've married a foreigner, vice versa. We, Ryan, sometimes I think I'm everything, but in this year alone, I have officiated at least 4 weddings. And myself, I'm not married. So we also work with you guys because we really want to give you all the support as foreigners or even as diaspora friends. So we help you, even if you're a Kenyan and you're struggling to get a date with the marriage registrar, we will be very happy to have a conversation with you around that, and we'll help you get the date, get the marriage certificate. If you've registered the marriage in the US and you wanted to recognize in Kenya, we also do that for a good number of clients. So just talk to us. Now, in this case, you're married to an American.
do the prenup.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We also do prenups for you. This is so Kenyans don't like this conversation, especially my Kenyan
No one
sisters.
does.
So, but we also help. We help you come up with prenups. We had a situation where an American gentleman was marrying a Kenyan lady, and he was scared to bring up the issue of the prenup. Then he came and said, Franklin, you're my brother, you guy, can you help me? So at least we also helped, be able to discuss the issue in a way that both parties feel comfortable and come up with a prenup, okay? So, we can always have that conversation. You can reach out to us on any of our social media channels or on YouTube at FKC Legal. In this case, you have an ID, but you don't have a Kenyan valid passport. Can you invest in my name to start? Yes, it's absolutely possible for you to invest in your name. But you see, I really, really discourage people from investing in their names, like in their personal names. I know what you mean because you're not a lawyer, so I understand what you're saying. But you see, if you invest it in your own name as an individual, you put yourself in a lot of legal and liability risks, okay, in the event of a lawsuit, in the event of taxes. So preferably, to answer your question strictly, yes, it is absolutely possible for you to do that, but the risk is extremely high. Should you, God forbid, die, should there be a legal suit, should there be an issue, the best way is that you can set up a company with your spouse who's American. Depending on what you want, you can have shareholding as you want, and then you can put the investment in the company. And because you're a Kenyan, there is always a requirement for having a local representative or a local director in the company. Because you're a Kenyan and you have your ID, you will simply be the local representative or the local director in the company. And then through the company, you and your American husband or spouse can do all the investment. Okay? So the answer is yes, but there's a preferred route.
Okay, before we get to Darnell's $5 super chat, thank you, and a member, by the way. I wish I did have the soundboard. Before we get to that, I've been talking to Franklin, and then he's always at the jail helping people getting arrested in Kenya. What the heck is going on? Can you talk,
So
please?
yes, so
Advise. What are
again,
people doing? How are y'all getting arrested?
yes. Again, let me say something, Ryan. If you quote me outside this place, I will categorically deny, and you'll have a problem with my lawyers. Okay, but I essentially have contacts and make a point to know police in all the main police stations, especially where our clients usually circulate. So, like in Parklands, we know the police very well. In Gigiri, in Spring Valley, in Kilimani, in Kileleshwa. Um, for two reasons. First reason, I kind of like people breaking the law, because if people didn't break the law, lawyers would be jobless. Okay, so please break the law, create employment for us. But also because sometimes there's always rotten mangoes in the market. So sometimes we have you're driving, you look like a foreigner, and then the police just stops you for no reason, harasses you. You can always just call us, and because we have a relationship with most of these police, we simply just help you come out of that problem. There's a time, even like there's some cops in Kilimani who know me, so sometimes would find my clients, and sometimes they're in good shape, sometimes they're in bad shape. Like we had a client who had overstayed their visa. So they says, "Oh, I want to call my lawyer." Then they said, "Call him." They're like, "Oh, Frank, it's you." Go, to the point that they know me. They're like, "Oh, it's Frank's, you're Frank's client. Okay, you can go. So, but essentially, if you have a problem, if you're in Kenya, just, better call Soul. In this case, better call FKC Legal. But don't get arrested. That was a joke. Yes.
Well, but in the US, we talk about how to handle being stopped by the police. Could you give some tips
Yes.
on what people should do?
Yes, I will say this without because I don't know if the Big Brother is watching again. But essentially, someone is called Sovereign the Global TV. Good comments. If you're stopped by a police, just stop. Okay. These people usually try and smell fear, or they try and make you look like you don't know what you're doing. So what you must do is that you must absolutely be very calm. One thing that I do surprisingly is that I usually disarm them. So I mean, first, I'm a lawyer, so it's not a problem. But usually I disarm them. So for example, when a cop stops me, I always greet them first. Niaje. Sometimes I even give my hand for them to shake. What this does is that it destabilizes them. Because they smell fear. They're very, very timid. They're very, when a police officer wants to do something illegal, they're very timid, they're very stupid, they're very dumb. Okay, and they're also scared. They don't know who you are. So it's a bluff game. Okay, so first, be very calm, be very confident, listen to what they're saying. Now, this is important. If you have made a mistake, especially if it is a traffic violation, tell them, "Oh, I'm really sorry, man." So accept. Don't argue. Just say, man, I'm sorry, I didn't see the red lights, or someone pushed me off my lane, or man, I'm new in Kenya, okay? So just talk to them, be candid, be confident. If they ask for something, we can talk about that in chambers, and if they insist really further, just better call FKC Legal, But yeah, be easy with
Okay.
them. Don't start saying I know my rights. I know my rights. No, don't say that.
I
This
know
is not
my
a way I
rights.
can.
That's not going to work. Yeah.
Not gonna work. Yes.
That's why I'm
Yes.
surprised. Like, you guys fight with the police, you get arrested. I've been stopped up 3 times, so I never really had a problem like that, though. Just, if you act scared, yeah.
Yes. Don't act scared. Don't.
But be nice. I agree.
Be nice.
Niaje. Uko
Niaje.
aje?
Niko
Yeah,
vipi? Unataka chai?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kenyans will be. It's an inside joke.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some chai. Anyway, Darnell, $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Member also. Thank you, all the members. I purchased this condo. Can I transfer it to a new company for short-term rentals and future expansion? It's under my name. I haven't taken possession yet.
Very good.
I'm in the same boat.
Darnell, this is a really, really good question. It is absolutely possible, and I really encourage you to do it now as soon as possible. you should, if possible, transfer it to a company. Just because if you're a foreigner, the taxes become really, really difficult for you. Again, I don't know if you come, I presume you're from the US or from Europe or from somewhere. Your governments are really, really good with taxes. So for me, I would say the biggest reason why you need to have a Kenyan company is because your government is watching. Now, Darnell, if you start making some money from Africa, your government starts wondering why is Daniel getting some money from this country in Africa. If you're from the Netherlands or from the UK, they know, they know very, very well. Okay, so and then what usually happens if you're from the US, the taxes would range anything between 19 to 35%. So imagine being taxed in Kenya and then being taxed by the US government 35%. Okay, because this is foreign, they essentially tax global income if you're an American. If you're from a country like Spain, it can go as high as 47%. So imagine getting taxed in Kenya and then paying 47% to your government in Europe, Now, please put it in a company. If you do it now, it is the best time because it's actually simple and it costs you very little money. You will not need to pay stamp duty as long as the property has not yet been registered. All you'd have to do is get in touch with us and we'll do something for you called a deed of novation. Okay? And the deed of novation essentially is an agreement that amends the previous agreement because you had a sale agreement before, yeah? So we'll just make an agreement that is going to be by 3 parties, yourself, because you are the initial purchaser of the property, the developer, and your company that you have now created. And the document will essentially be saying, me, Daniel, I have agreed that the property should not be owned to Daniel Kenya Limited, and the developer also just signs. And the developer will charge you absolutely nothing. Usually, it would cost you anything like $100 or $150. It's not much, but it will save you so much. Okay? Yes. So yes,
Good
please, you
stuff.
should do it. Yeah, don't pay your government all these taxes and don't get taxed twice. It's a good question.
Cypher 6210. Thanks for the info, guys. Thank you. Let's look at the chat real quick.
Welcome, Cypher.
I said, Franklin, I didn't know you were Dynasty. Please disregard everything I'm saying.
Who's this?
Nairobi Barbie.
I need to meet you. I need to meet you, Nairobi Barbie. Yes.
I know. She's funny.
Yes.
Martin Invest. He's waited a long time. This is an hour ago.
Yes.
I heard you can write off the apartment you buy with 50% of the first year as a company expense. Is that true?
This is Martin, my good friend.
Yeah.
Yes, it is Martin. Yes, Martin, you're absolutely right. Shout out to you, Martin, all the way in Germany. But Martin, I don't know. I saw this law recently in Germany. I don't know if it is true. Did you see it, Ryan? The law that if you're a German person, I think below it's some certain age, and you want to leave the country for more than 3 months, you must sign out to the military or something. Yeah, I saw that.
Something that said that.
Yeah. I was going to talk to Martin about it because I think it's going to be, Martin, I don't know if that is the case in Germany, but it's going to be a big deal. But yes, you're absolutely right.
Escape before it's too late.
The problem is that the law passed and no one knew, So now they're like, oh, there's a law like that, under the military. So it's too late. But yes, Martin, this is absolutely possible. And beyond that, I don't know if you've had these conversations, it's actually absolutely possible for you to input all your expenses, including the cost of construction, or purchase rather, if we structure it in the appropriate way, and it is absolutely possible for you to then write this off as expenses. But beyond that, it's possible for you to do it beyond just 1 year. Sometimes we like to do it over like a 3-year period, because sometimes, the first 1 year you may not make so much money if you're just starting out, but over a 3-year period, it's best to spread. And this is what we call tax planning. So it's better to spread them over a long period of time, so that you don't exhaust them in the first year. You're not making so much income in the first year.
Wow. Dr. Deca, member.
Yeah,
very long time member, by the way.
Yes,
Franklin, what does the payment to FKC cover? Once I make the payment to FKC, can I expect to get answers about contracts, taxes, residency, banking? Please explain the payment structures.
Good. So
how do you work? Can they ask you questions? Do you charge them hourly?
Shout out to Dr. Decker. I will answer this question in a general sense, and then I will answer it specifically for Dr. Decker again. So usually we charge a consultation fee, a one-time consultation fee for all your queries as long as you're our client, okay? So essentially what we do is that if you're a new client and you come on board, there'd be two options, okay, in terms of how we charge at the initial step. The first option is that you could come and just seek to simply, and Ryan, did you lose me? You can hear me still?
No, I hear you. Mm-hmm.
You can hear, okay, good, yeah. So if you come in, the first option is that you can come and you just want to ask questions, to consult and not have any specific work. In that case, we usually charge you a flat fee of $250 as our consultation fee. But a good point to note is that this necessarily doesn't mean that it is a one-time fee or a one meeting fee. Like, it doesn't mean that you only go to the call once and that's it. It is for the lifetime of that client as long as you have any consultations. So it's a very good deal if you ask me. Because as long as we have that, we have you in our system, at any point in time, you have access to any of our lawyers, you have access to me, you have access to Abdi. We have more than 10 lawyers in the law firm. So good number, 10 lawyers who are highly specialized on different things. And so we give you support for a long time, up to 1 year, okay, for any kind of consultation you have, okay, at just $250. If you go to the US, that's just like 1 hour charge in a lawyer in the US. On the other hand, and the second instance, which is where Dr. Decker would fall, Dr. Decker is our good friend. You could come and you have, for example, specific work that you want us to do for you. For example, you want us to set up a company for you, you want us to represent you in a purchase of a property, you want us to represent you in some due diligence. If you instruct us on any work, okay, then the $250 is waived entirely, okay? So for example, if you come and say, I want to set up a company, we charge a flat fee on company incorporation at $600. So if you say you want to incorporate a company and we charge you $600, then you become our client and you have access to us as well. So you can ask us all the questions about taxes, about conveyancing, about residency, you see? So in this second model, you don't have to pay a separate consultation fees. As long as you're a client once, you have access to all of us, on a lifetime basis. So that's a general answer. With respect to Dr. Decker, you're already our client, a really, really good client of ours. In your case, you can come to us at any point in time for any questions, ask us all the questions in taxes, ask us all the questions in contracts, as long as they are consultations. Because you are already an existing client, there is no additional charge for you. Because as you know, we've already done a good number of works with you, Dr. Decker. So in your case, no additional payment for any future legal work. But if you're a new client just looking to ask questions, we'll charge you the consultation fee. I hope this is clear. And so nice to see you, Dr. Decker.
So, in the US, you call and ask one question on the phone, they charge you 15 minutes at $200, $300 an hour. So that's why people get hesitant.
Yeah. You know something, Ryan, in truth, it is also it's also a big problem in Kenya. And this is one of the biggest concerns I get from people. They say, it's very difficult to get information in Kenya. Lawyers are mean with information, Like there's this client who told us that they wrote to some lawyer and then the lawyer said they did an email and then the lawyer says, please call me. They said, call me, full stop, So lawyers essentially don't like sharing out information. Our mission, and you should all visit our website to see our purpose and where we live and why we exist. Because we're not an ordinary law firm, Like we are really driven with our vision and our mission. And our vision and purpose is to make it seamless to invest in Africa. And so we exist to break the barriers of investing in Africa. Okay. Now, one way to break the barriers is that we try to make it for you, approachable, affordable, and accessible, triple A's. Okay. And that's why when you come to us, we don't want to charge you hourly. We want to share with you a lot of information, all the information that you can possibly have, so that you can invest in Africa, because that is exactly why we exist, So, please take advantage of what we have. And most of this, I have to say, have come as a result of our partnership with Ryan. So this is also, there's always a special place given to referrals coming through Ryan, because of the relationship that we have. Same way Ryan's real estate company now has negotiated for you a 3% discount with the new Luminara project. And if you ask me, that is a lot of discount. In the same way, if you just come and mention Ryan, you get some really special treatment. Okay, yeah. So we are all here for you guys. Yes. What about the
Networking.
reservation fee?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. What about the reservation fee if you transfer into a company and already paid this?
So it is not a problem at all. There is an instance where, for some people, if they're not in a hurry, they usually incorporate the company first and then go ahead and do the purchase. Okay, so it becomes easy. The letter of offer is in the name of the company. The sale agreement is in the name of the company. There are some instances where, because of urgency or because of timelines, they end up buying before they even before they get a company. It's also not a problem. If you've already paid a reservation, this is for Grad. This is Gerard. Gerard Daniels. Nice to see you, Gerard. I think I know Gerard. Yeah, I think he's from the Netherlands. I'm not sure, but I think so. If you've already paid a reservation fee, it is still absolutely possible. If you haven't yet done the sale agreement, if you appoint us as your lawyers, we'll talk to the developer, and the sale agreement would then be done in the name of your company. So even if the letter of offer and the reservation was done in your individual name, the sale agreement could still come out in the name of the company. This would still be very ideal. In the third instance, if you already have a sale agreement, that's what I had mentioned earlier, you can just simply do deed of novation and it still comes out in the name of your company. So it is absolutely possible across the board.
Sid, I purchased 2 properties in my name and I'm collecting rent for one right now. I can transfer to company if I set it up after the handover process.
Yes. So for Sid, I don't know. This is Saniquel. So I don't know what country Saniquel is from. I don't know if Saniquel. I wish they mentioned if they were a foreigner. But if you're a foreigner and you're getting rental income in your individual name, it is possible, but it is not the most ideal. It is also not advised. As a foreigner, because you're a non-resident, it may have some legal liability issues for you in Kenya and also in your country. So consider putting it in a company. But to answer your question, yes, you can absolutely transfer it into the name of the company. I would really prefer if this is done before the sectional title is out. So please get in touch with us if you can on our YouTube channel, on our Instagram. Ryan is also going to give our email address on the chats down here and our phone number. So you can also get in touch with us on WhatsApp, by the way. We're very accessible on WhatsApp. And you can look at your situation. If the section title is already out, it still can be done. It's a bit complicated. It's going to be a bit costly for you, unfortunately. But if the handover has been done, but you still don't have the sectional title, we can still do it for you, and it is fairly simple. So either way, it can be done. It just depends with how far gone you are, which will have some additional layer of complication and cost, but it's absolutely possible.
Martin's talking about Germany, trying to keep you locked up in Germany. Not that unexpected, but that's one of the reasons why having different residencies or citizenships is getting more important. A lot of weird stuff's happening in Europe. A lot of them guys are looking to escape.
Martin, when I saw that news, the first person I thought was Martin. I was like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to the good old Martin, Yeah, so
they're trying to keep you up in the cold in Germany.
And I saw Martin, even if you're backpacking, you have to inform the military. That's crazy, if you ask me.
Oh, this is a good one. Khalid Mohammed, the lawyer has done nothing in research that took his time. It was simple sale. I said to the lawyer, I won't pay 1% for the quick draft. This is a thing because the rate for conveyancing is by percentage, but sometimes you guys already have the due diligence on these developers. Can you address this? Because
yes,
it does seem a little high sometimes, to be fair, if you've already done the research.
I am
putting them on the spot.
Yeah, no, I like it. I'm going to answer this in 2 ways. If you go to a doctor's office today, and again you have pneumonia, you potentially know that you already have pneumonia. And in some countries like Europe and some countries, they will not let you buy drugs off the counter. You have to get some prescription. Yeah. So then you need to go to a doctor, pay some consultation fees, and then get the drugs. Now, what are you paying for when you see this doctor? You are essentially paying for two things. First, you're paying for their time, and the time comes as a matter of expertise. The doctor has been in school for like years and years. In Kenya, for example, lawyers have been we have to be in school for like at least 7 years before you can be admitted to the bar. So that's a very long time. And so essentially what professionals sell you first is that they sell you their time. Okay, so that even if they've already looked at that document before, they're employing fresh time for you. Okay, so this is one reason why any lawyer is going to charge you for this work. And you see, the logic is that if lawyers say that, because I've done it before, I will not charge you, then lawyers would never make any money. If doctors said I will not charge you because I have seen another patient who has pneumonia, they would never make any money, because they're using their mind and time for every patient. But also, like Khalid, you see, sometimes you pay for what you want to avoid. Okay. Now, there's a reason why people have the phones that they have. For example, not to throw shade to any Chinese phone, but there's a reason why you'd buy a Samsung and why you'd buy an iPhone and why you'd buy, for example, a Google phone, and you will not buy the cheap China phones. Okay. Do the China phones call and have WhatsApp and have internet? They do, right? But you're buying an iPhone, you're buying a Samsung, or you're buying a Dell, or you're buying a Toshiba or a Lenovo or whatever, because of what you want to avoid. So why do you pay this? Because sometimes you want to avoid some things. And the last thing that I'll say, this is interesting, but I want you guys to know, don't ever imagine that all sale agreements are the same. Do you know that? Do you know that as a matter of fact? Do you know that as a matter of fact, some sale agreements are better than others? For example, you've seen an instance in the same property where two people buy. In one sale agreement, the person has been allowed that when they buy the property, they can have access to the gym, to the swimming pool, to the whatever at no additional cost, because we negotiated for them to have that as a clause. In another sale agreement that we saw later, they did not have this. What this is going to mean is that when these two people will be running their Airbnbs, one of them is going to have an additional like $100 expense every single month. Why? Because the sale agreement did not have the clause allowing them to use the swimming pool and the gym and the sauna. You see? So will they ever know that someone else got a better deal? Absolutely not. So the point is, don't ever make the presumption that it's just a simple draft. No two sale agreements are the same. Now, when you go with lawyers like FKC Legal, you're paying for what you're getting, but even more important, I like to imagine that, so what you're going to get anyway, but you're also paying for what you want to avoid. Okay? And I hope this answers the question. But please feel free to get in touch privately and we can have that conversation.
Dane, is it possible for me to have a consultation with Franklin? I'm currently starting my investment journey in Kenya, and there are a few things I want to get clarification on.
Yes. As a matter of fact, Dane, please get in touch with me. I'll be very, very happy to meet with you. I don't know if you are Kenyan. If you are Kenyan and you're in the country, please come over to our offices. Our offices are in Kilimani and Westlands, so you can literally choose either of the locations. Otherwise, if you're out of the country, yes, we can certainly have a consultation call online, on Microsoft Teams, on Zoom, on WhatsApp, any. I'm just going to put our email down here and our WhatsApp phone number so you can get in touch, and we'll get in touch immediately. Yes.
Martin said, yeah, militarization is starting to happen in Europe thanks to the U.S., Trump pulling back and all that. So they secretly passed a law that we have to let the military know if we leave for more than 3 months. All men 18 to 45. I thought y'all had gender equality over there. Why is it just the men? What's going on?
You know, Martin, maybe this is a good time to associate as a woman. I'm just putting that there.
Yeah. Khaled, I follow you, Ryan. I purchased an apartment in Parklands. It was a simple sale between seller and myself as I lived in an apartment. However, the lawyer said he's going to charge me 1%. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, my perspective, sorry, Franklin, if
Yes.
you can do it on your own, but then it's risky. And I always think of the lawyers as insurance. So if you do it on your own and something happens with millions of shillings, you know, but look, I have the same attitude with lawyers sometimes, like, do I need this? So I get it, you know. But
and then let me Ran, let me say this also. You know, also to Khalid, you know, Khalid, I hear you and I can empathize with where you're coming from. You know, sometimes it is, you know, there's some, how do I say, there's some overriding situations, you know. For example, you and your friend are buying a property, you know, you've just agreed between yourselves, you know. We essentially have the general rule, but if you, and this is for all clients, not just Khalid, if you feel at some point that something for you doesn't work out and you really want to still work with us, just get in touch with us, you know. I mean, it cannot be that the price is the most important thing for you, you know. Obviously the price is important, but certainly other things are important. For example, if someone comes and says, you know, I will charge you 0.1%, but I'll do a shoddy job, will you be happy? No. Why? Because price is not the only important thing for you. But if price is if price is paramount, and it should be paramount for everyone, please just still get in touch with us and tell us, you know, yeah, I'm happy, but this is too much for me, and you know, we'll have a conversation. Okay, so I hear you, and just reach out to us and we'll see what you can do. Of course, it is always on a case-by-case basis.
Nairobi Barbie, Franklin, I'll set up a meeting through your website and I'll be bringing my single Barbie, so be ready.
Yes, actually, to Barbie, I'm just dropping our WhatsApp number down below. And by the way, our email is very simple. Even if you're not Kenyan, it's very simple. It's Jambo at FKC Legal, and everyone knows what Jambo means. Jambo, Jambo, bwana, habari gani? So just say Jambo at FKC Legal, and you have us. Okay. Yes, and I look forward to meeting with Barbie.
What is the normal fee for the lawyer? The developer will also charge me in handover. I don't feel like paying two lawyers. That is an annoying thing because they make you pay for the seller's lawyer. But maybe your lawyer can help you negotiate not to pay.
Yes.
I don't know. How does that work?
Yes. This is, I'm still waiting for that comment to come up, but yes, what is normal fee for a lawyer? Yes, you know, yes. Now you see, I think, and maybe Ryan, this is one thing that you can do at Almasi Realty. Okay, maybe one consultation that you can do for potential purchasers, Khalid and so many other people, is to also make them understand the closing costs, because I found this to be a problem, you know. For example, we were looking recently with some clients. She was buying a property and it was maybe 120,000 USD. It was about 15 million Kenyan shillings. In the end, they would, so it was, the property was valued at 120,000 USD. What they're going to pay at the end is about 135,000. A clear $15,000 difference, you know. And this is because of stamp duty, legal fees, service charge, you know. So I think, Khalid, it's very good to know at the initial point of view to just know what are the kind of costs that you'll incur well upfront, you know, so that you don't have any surprises along the way.
Absolutely. The closing costs are a thing.
Yes.
There you go.
You're most welcome, Khalid. Yes. Yes. And Khalid, please reach out to us. Let's have some talk, okay?
All right. How do you get a Kenyan citizenship if one of the parents was from Kenya, passed away, and a child was born in a different country? How long will it take to get citizenship?
Wait, Ryan, actually, the number on the screen is the other one. This is,
it's
okay.
I stole this from your website.
It's okay.
That's on your website.
It's okay. It's my personal number. You can get in touch with me directly. Otherwise, the other one is also the company.
Wait, the one I gave is your personal? Oh, gosh.
Yeah, but it's okay. I mean, it's still okay. But you Kenyan citizen.
100 people are going to call you.
It's okay. So, how do you get a Kenyan citizenship if one of the parents was Kenyan, died, and the child was born in a different country? How long will it take to get? This is a good question, Mr. America. Now, Mr. America, my good friend, maybe you can just give clarity as to where you were born, okay? So that I know how to answer this question for you. In the meantime, Ran, you can get another question and then I'll come back.
Okay.
There's a reason why where you were born is very important. And then we'll circle back to my good friend.
Baller said, "This is the highest quality content from Kenya I've seen. Thank you all." Thank you, Baller. Appreciate it. I can't believe 100 people are sitting here doing a legal consultation.
Yes.
That's
And
crazy.
it's for a
Shout out
long
to all
time.
you guys. A long time, 2.5 hours consistent. Wow. But,
And thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Bola. Again, like I said, we want to overwhelm you with all the information that you can possibly have. To be very honest with you, you don't really have to even work with us as the lawyers. You know, our mission is just, remember, our mission is to make it seamless for you to invest in Africa. We don't need to appear anywhere. Okay, so you can literally you can literally listen to our information, go to another lawyer, and we're very happy to just give you the legal support, and we're here to give you all the information that you need, just so you have, even if you already have a lawyer, now you're better off, you know. Yes.
Martin
Yes,
said,
please
"Yeah,
get in
no
touch,
women,
Mr.
only
Khalid.
men." Oh yeah, Khalid said, "Thank you." He's overseas. Yeah. So that's what's up. Martin, yeah, no women, only men. Gender change is legal and not too difficult. Don't make any sense.
Very good,
When
Martin. You
can I
see, I gave you an idea, Martin. I knew it.
The lawyer mind is like, change your gender.
Yes, yeah.
Sid, when can I expect to pay taxes to the government since I'm collecting rent right now?
This is a really, really, really good question, and I'm happy that Sunny asked, because I was going to talk about it, but I forgot. So
I'm a little worried about that too, Franklin.
Yes. Actually, as long as and you, most of you guys who
I'm going
already
to
are,
jail.
Ran, you could actually go to jail. You'd probably meet me there, so don't worry. Probably find me there with another client or with a cop having some tea. But this is a really, really important question, and it is very timely. I will just speak about it now here. But if you're our client here and you're our client last year time like now, you know that every year our law firm keeps a diary of all the people that we work with, all the people that get in touch. Ryan, that is still the other number, but it's okay. It's okay. You can. I put the number.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
Where'd you put it?
Somewhere you see in the chat. But essentially, we will usually get in touch with you, and we'll usually get in touch with you and advise you of the taxes. Taxes in Kenya are payable every year. They're payable on the following year before the month of June. So what this means, for any and all income that you got last year, even if you're in the country last year and you made zero money or 0 shillings or $0, we need to file your taxes in the month of this is May or June. Okay, so we start filing our taxes, client taxes, this month and next month. Okay, so this is really, really important. You must file your taxes. If you don't file your taxes, depending on the situation, you are facing penalties of up to $200 in some cases. Okay, and you really don't want to pay those kind of taxes. Okay, so yes, you should absolutely file your taxes. The way we do it for most of our clients, especially if you're starting out, is that we make it so that your tax obligations are very limited. So you only have obligation to pay taxes once a year instead of every other month, and then we do that for you at the end of the year. And again, we try to make it very, very affordable for our clients. So if you're filing taxes in Kenya, it would cost you just around $50 to do the taxes for you, and you save yourself a lot of money. So it's really not much. We try and make it accessible for you. So just get in touch with us, and we'll help you, do that if you have an issue.
Franklin, for later, like tomorrow, I think I got to do something for 2025. So don't let me go to jail.
Yes. No, for real. And the other thing, I will not let you go to jail, Ryan. We need you. The other thing that I want to say, and I know people always ask this, but I did not make any money last year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you made no money last year, as long as you have a KRA PIN or your company has a KRA PIN, you must file what is called nil returns. Okay. So you
you're
must tell the
allowed to
government
do that? I thought they stopped it.
so this is another clever lawyer trick that we've done. Okay. The government says, you know what? You're not allowed to file nil returns, zero. So do you know what we do now? We file for you 1 shilling, 1 Kenyan shilling. Yes. And 1 Kenyan shilling is not nil, it's 1 shilling. So that's essentially what we do for you. So even if you didn't make any money, you must file. What is the investment amount for foreigners? Yeah. To set up company, you literally don't need any money to set up a company in Kenya. The only thing is that, like I said, at the point of setting up the company, you just need to have the legal fees, and the legal fees would be just $600, and that's it. Okay, so you don't need like some lot of money, just $600, and that's it, and that is going to cover you for like 1 year. Okay, the other time you're going to do the next filing is going to be the following year, and that's when we'll be doing the company filings for you, and also the tax filing for you. And like I said, that's just going to cost you $50. Okay, so again, you actually don't need to have like lots of money. You don't need to be a rich person to have companies.
Gerard Daniels, we covered this earlier. I don't know the timestamp, but we talk about it's early in the video about the tax. It's like one of the first questions. So if you skim through the video, one of the first questions on there, you'll see the answer to that one. I missed one important part. We have a property and rent an Airbnb, and does that mean we are in trouble? We have already saw and carrot.
Let me see. I'm
you got to do taxes.
I missed this. This one is Mr. Good Friend. Your property and is rented Airbnb. And does that mean that we're in trouble? We have a resourcer and Caribbean. So actually, let me. This is a good question, and I think this is something that we need to talk about. Do you know, a month ago, KRA, or the tax authority in Kenya, cracked down about 400,000 Airbnbs in Kenya. Do you know that? Okay. So first of all, you need to check if yours is among them. In some cases, they send an email, they get in touch on call, but it was actually 396,000 people with Airbnbs. You see that's a big number, right? That's a huge number if you ask me. Why this is a big deal is that for you, my good friend, if you're not Kenyan, this Kenyan authority can follow you in your country, can come and say, hold on, you are from the Netherlands, for example, you made an income in Kenya, you haven't declared. And so they can potentially write to your tax authority and kind of like rat you out in an effort to seek your government's assistance to pay the money. Okay. Now, and if they do that, obviously you'll have a big problem also with your government in terms of paying taxes and whatnot. So this is another reason, again, like I said, if there's anything you take home why you need to have these things in a company, is just to avoid this liability attaching on you in your home country. You really don't want your government meddling into your African business, okay? Now, and then so this is the first thing. There's a crackdown on Airbnbs. Secondly, there is also a move that the government is trying to do now, but of course we are opposing it, and we can talk about it later in detail. But there is a move to want to say that guys like you with Airbnbs must have licenses. Okay. Now, what this essentially means is that the government is going to try and put you in shape. Know who has an Airbnb, who has an Airbnb. In truth, more than 80% of the people have not complied. So, but the government is obviously trying to push. In your case, you haven't. If you're renting it out and you're having Airbnb, please just get in touch. Let's see how you've been receiving the income. Airbnb, the company Airbnb, and also Booking.com. If you don't know, they also report to the Kenyan government. Just so you know. They pay taxes in Kenya. So they pay taxes in Kenya. Usually, there's something called a digital service tax. So Airbnb, these guys like Airbnb, Booking.com, they pay it's called DST, Digital Service Tax, of 1.5%. Okay, and what the government does is that they look and say, okay, Airbnb, bring your records. Oh, we saw an Airbnb belonging to Ryan. Oh, we saw an Airbnb belonging to Martin. We saw Airbnb belonging to someone else. And then they're like, okay, let us look at Ryan and Martin. Did they submit similar reports? You know, because ask yourself, how did they find 396,000 people? You know, it can't be random. It's these apps, Airbnb, Booking.com. So this is a big thing for you to think about. How to do it is just to first of all have the company, but already if you're getting paid, just get in touch. We'll see how we can go about it, so that you don't have any legal liability attaching on you. Okay. Yes.
Back to Mr. America's question. The child is a U.S. citizen. Mother was Kenyan citizen. That's a follow-up from his previous one.
Okay.
Does that give me I gotta find it again.
So let me. The child is a U.S.
How do
citizen.
you get a Kenyan citizenship if one of the parents, Kenyan, died and a
Okay.
child was born in a different country? How long
Very
does it
good.
take?
Very good. So
And the child's from the U.S. Mom
yes.
was Kenyan.
Yes. Yes. So Mr. America is my good friend. As long as one of the parents of the child was Kenyan, then the child has a right to obtain Kenyan citizenship. Okay. So as long as even if they were born in the US and they can prove that the parent was Kenyan, they have a right to obtain Kenyan citizenship. And we've done this for other people. We can actually have a conversation to how to do that. Essentially, what would happen is that we will make an application for you, an application to have this child recognized as a Kenyan citizen. What they will need is the birth certificate of the child, the birth certificate of the mother, and in this case, and may her soul rest in peace. If the mom is deceased, we'd also need the death certificate of the mom. Okay, and then we'll take that, make an application, and the child will be given Kenyan citizenship as long as one of the parents was a Kenyan citizen. Okay, so it is absolutely possible. It can be done. Okay.
Good question. Dr. Deca, $10 super chat. Woo! Thank you. Agree with
Yes, I
Khaled.
would
I was
agree.
wondering why I was paying the developer lawyer's fee. FKC is helping me close on 2 properties, and any money saved is appreciated.
Yes, actually,
What's been your
yeah.
ability to get that price down? Are you able to do that?
So what we have done, and I know some clients will know because I've had this conversation with them, just because of the kind of pricing that we do. Usually, in cases where, say, we already have a relationship with the client, or the client is buying several properties, or the properties are of high value, we are always open to having discussions and seeing how can we be flexible on some of the payments. I know some clients here can confirm. Sometimes when a client comes and they say I'm doing several things, we would even tell them, if you're doing several things, we'll just offer you a discount as a matter of principle in the firm. So yes, usually, and I'll tell you, actually, this is also a question, a point to Mr. Khalid. Sometimes, because we are a profession, you guys can check out something online called the Advocate's Remuneration Order. Okay, so it's a fee schedule that is binding to lawyers, and it stipulates exactly how lawyers must charge. For example, lawyers must ideally charge fees anything between 1% and 2%, depending on the value of the property. In most cases, the main value of the property, and you guys can actually ask ChatGPT, you will see this, the value is always about 1.5%. For the guys who have worked with us, in most cases, that we charge 1.25% in most cases. In some cases, we charge you 1.5 depending on the complexity. But usually, we would have a problem with the profession if we charge, say, 0.5% or whatever, because there's a prescribed scale. Okay, but absolutely, Dr. Decker, in cases where we can save money, we absolutely always want to help you go that route.
I think part of what she's asking is negotiating the closing cost on the developer side, paying for their attorney as well.
Yes.
Are you able to make progress on that?
To be quite frank with you, and I'm being very honest, it is almost close to impossible to have them go below the 1%. It's very, very difficult. And by the way, if you think about it, like the logic that Khalid made, which is a good logic, they essentially do the same thing repeatedly as developers lawyers. Actually, they do nothing. They just change from Dr. Decker to Ryan to Frank. That's it. And the payment terms, and that's it. But they still get paid 1%. At least we do more work. We do due diligence, we do negotiation and whatnot. But to the defense of the developers lawyers as well, it's also because there are professional rules applicable. Okay. So sometimes it's really, really difficult. I've never seen a situation where they've gone below the 1%, unfortunately.
If the property will first be registered under your name as a foreigner and under your personal KRA PIN, can you later transfer the property to your Kenyan company where you are 100% owner? I think you covered this. It's just more expensive.
Yes. You can absolutely do it. This is a good question to use a HB. It is possible, but it's just going to be expensive for you. But it's absolutely possible. If the property already has a sectional title registered, it's going to be even more complicated and more. So it's possible. I just want to say that, but it's going to cost you some more because look, you already have a title reading your name, Mr. User, right? Now, if you're changing it, that means that document has to be destroyed and a new property and a new document generated. Obviously, that will have cost. And we try to advise that you do it earlier on, because earlier on, when you do it, you don't have to interact with the government. Okay? Yeah. If you interact with the government,
do you pay stamp duty again?
Are you if you'll be 100% shareholder in the company, you do not pay stamp duty as long as you're 100% shareholder. Okay. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's what he's asking. Cool. Oh, is that all the questions?
That's all. Ryan, I've just put the WhatsApp phone number down there. See, at the bottom of the chat.
How come I don't see it?
The very, very bottom.
Oh, no, I still don't see it yet.
It's
and what's that? To me? Oh, I don't know.
No, on the chats.
Why don't I see your chat?
You don't see?
I don't know. It's weird.
But all right.
I don't see.
No.
Are you banned? I'm sorry. Kenyan on West Coast here. Thanks for a fabulous platform, Ryan. Frank, you've earned yourself a client. Hey, member too. Thank you.
Wairimo. West Coast in the US. That's amazing, Wairimo. Please get in touch. Wairimo, we really, really love working with diaspora. If you're in diaspora, we really like working with diasporas like you. One reason why we like working with diasporas like you, Wairimo, and Kenyans will get this, is that sometimes if you're investing back at home, you don't want your relatives knowing that you're investing, for example. It's an African thing. Africans will get it. You'll pay black tax. Sometimes you'll be told, no, buy a property from your uncle or buy a property from this neighbor. So working with professionals just helps you avoid, keeps everything confidential for you. You cannot always trust your relatives, this is one thing that we usually do. And really,
it's funny for me. I'm always interested that I have a pretty big amount of diaspora on here a lot. And I'm like, why do you guys want to ask me questions? Don't you have people at home? But I get it now.
No. It's a thing, Ryan. Trust me, it's a thing. You really don't want you in Africa, you just want to keep your affairs private if you can. And
right.
Africans in the building will relate.
We have someone managing our apartment. Does that mean we have to set up a Kenyan company to register it with its own KRA?
Let me see that question come up, Brian. I've just sent you on your WhatsApp the phone number. If someone managing an apartment, does this mean we have to set up a Kenyan company registered? Yes. The answer is yes. You should. Actually, this is a good point, and then I've discussed this question before. I think some people, I've discussed this a long time ago with Mr. America on a private consultation. Sometimes people get confused because what happens is that you have a property, you give it to your realtor, who's a property management, to get clients and do all those things. and then you think that, voila, I'm good, But if you ask me, this also puts you in even more significant risk. Why? Because again, remember, tax is like accounts. It's a double entry system. You must always remember that. So what's going to happen, this property agent most likely is going to pay taxes. It's going to say, I'm paying taxes. So this year I'm paying taxes of $1,000. Government says, oh, good. How did you get this $1,000? Or, I managed Ryan's apartment. I managed Mr. America's apartment. I managed Stacey Chanel's apartment, for example. They says, very good. Thank you so much for being transparent. Now let us go. Let us see if Ryan has declared. Let us see if Mr. America has declared. Then you're in trouble. Okay, so if there is a clear distinction between management and taxes. Just simply because they are managing it for you doesn't mean that they're taking the tax obligations from you. The management company will pay a management tax. They'll pay a management tax, and that's it. Okay, because they're a company on its own. But you, with your income and your and whatever you're doing, you have your own tax obligation. Okay. So you still need to file and pay your taxes. And you guys, you must reach out to us as soon as possible. If you're not already our client, if you're our client, you're good. We'll reach out to you ourselves, but you must file those taxes in the next month or 2 months maximum.
All right. If the developer had out the property to you and you haven't paid the stamp duty, can you still pay taxes to the government? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, no, I know what he means. I'm just waiting for the question, but I know exactly what the question means. Sometimes, Ryan, it happens that they have done the handover, but they have not yet done the registration.
Oh,
Because the procedure of things usually is that the property is complete. The developer wants to hand over the property as soon as possible for two reasons. First, they want to hand over the property because so they can say, you know what, we did our handover. It's a handover for developers is a marketing gig. It's a marketing thing, So they want to use it as an avenue to market. But also, secondly, because they want to limit liability. So, Ryan, they've handed over the property to you. The property collapses. But Ryan, you already did the handover, you see? So those are the two reasons. And that's why Ryan always keeps on saying, just work with good developers, okay? So it is possible that the property is handed over. If you look at your sale agreements, they tell you will pay stamp duty later on at the point of registration. So you can have the property already living the property, but you haven't yet got the sectional title. In that case, you will technically don't need to pay taxes. But I'll explain. But technically, as far as the government is concerned, you don't yet own the property. Are we clear? Because transfer hasn't happened. Okay, so legally, you living in a house doesn't mean owning the house. Handover doesn't mean owning the house. Owning the house means having the property transferred in your name and you having a sectional title in your name. So from a tax perspective, you don't need to pay taxes. However, I want to give this clarification to Sanik and everyone else. I don't want you guys to think that, don't have the perception that, I'm getting taxed. No. People don't get taxed. What gets taxed is income. Okay? This is an important thing, yeah? So your income is what gets taxed. So for example, you have a property, you live in the property, you live in the property yourself. Are you making an income? Are you paying yourself rent? No. So because you're not getting an income, you're not being taxed. Okay? So I want you guys to remember, just because you have a property doesn't mean you're getting taxed, because you as a person, you don't get taxed. What gets taxed is your income. Okay? So if you're not making an income, you don't get taxed. However, as long as you have KRA PIN, and even if you're not making an income, you must file your taxes. You just file your taxes and say, I made 0 shillings, and so I'm paying 0 shillings in terms of taxes. Okay? I hope this distinction is clear, Ryan. At least for you. Okay?
Good. Yep. Good to go. That makes sense. Martin, do you need ETIMS invoices even for service charges of apartment, or are there more exceptions?
This is a really, really good question this is Martin, yeah? It's a really good, yes. Now, thank you so much, Martin, for bringing this discussion up. And I know we've had this conversation also in private, so I'm happy that you bring it out for people to also know. You know, effective 1st January this year, in Kenya, you will not be allowed to input expenses for any income if you do not have ETMs receipt or ETMs invoices to support the expenses. Okay. So now let me break this down for you. Last year and the other years, what you'd simply do is that you'd say, oh, this year I made $1,000 in terms of profits. But hold on, I paid rent, I took Ryan for lunch, I paid a cab, I paid internet. And so all my input expenses were how much? Yeah, $900. And so as a matter of fact, I made a profit of $100. And the government will be like, okay, we trust you, you're a good person, fine, we won't tax you. Then the government noticed, but hold on, people are taking advantage of this. So now, effective 1st of January this year, you will not be allowed to declare any expense if you have not had an ETIMS invoice. And so, Martin, in your case, yes, you need to have an ETIMS invoice even for service charge and for all those charges. However, you can talk to us and we can talk about it later. There are some instances where the person who is offering your service does not want to raise an ETIMS invoice or is not even capable of raising an ETIMS invoice, whatever reason. What you do in that case is that you simply, you do a reverse invoice. Okay? So it's called reverse invoicing. You go to the ETIMS platform and then you do a reverse invoice. You say, I paid Ryan. Ryan hasn't given me an ETIMS invoice, but I know Ryan's KRA PIN. So I do a reverse invoice to Ryan. Okay? I say I paid Ryan $1,000. So you just go raise a reverse invoice and then it is tagged on Ryan that Ryan give me $1,000. So even if Ryan doesn't give an ETIMS invoice, it's not all lost. You can still comply. And what this means also is that there is a lot more exposure to you guys on a tax perspective, because you see, you must remember, like I told you, tax is like accounts. It's a double entry system. Okay, so if you do that, remember, so Martin says I paid Ryan $1,000 and then he has done a reverse invoice. Ryan does not know that. Ryan never checks his ETIMS invoice. Ryan never talks to his lawyers, so he doesn't know that Martin did a reverse invoice. The government just sits and says, but hold on, Ryan said nothing about this. Let us go for Ryan. You see, you're in trouble. You see? So you must be really, really careful, because there could be people out there who are doing reverse invoices to you and they will never tell you. Okay? That's when you need to talk to your lawyers. If you talk to us, we have ways to just check and see who has raised any reverse invoices for you, so that you can plan yourself, because it is going to happen so much and most of you guys are going to be in so much trouble.
All right, couple questions. So I'm getting off soon because got to be somewhere super early tomorrow. Elisa Mitchell, greetings, tuning in from Tampa Bay, Florida. What's going on? How are you?
Shout out to our friends in Florida.
Yeah. Mr. America, if the developer delays a project for a few years and last payment 10% was contingent upon completion, is it possible to not pay the final payment due to loss of potential rental income? Depends on your contract, no?
Good. I wish Abdi was here. This is an expertise that Abdi always does. I know. In some cases, Mr. America, I know, because we've had these conversations. I know some of the parties you may have gotten a long time ago before we got to know each other. So obviously, that ship has already sailed, yeah. But one thing that we always try to do whenever we do sell agreements for clients is to try to negotiate an instance or a situation where there is a delay in completion. Okay, so you see, Mr. America, you cannot rewrite a contract post writing. So what this means is that if there was no specific clause in the contract that allows you a recourse or some remedy as a result of delay, it's not possible for you to come in later and say, oh, no, this has happened, now I need to get some compensation. So it's not possible if it wasn't in the contract. However, if we started the conversation together, Mr. America, we always try to have a clause in the agreement on those instances. And one thing, for example, like we see in some, not in all, but in some contracts, they say, if you delay, we charge you like 2% or 1% per month of the outstanding amount. you know. So if we find a clause like that, we say that's all you need, halas. We also say, and if you delay, we charge you a 1% interest payment, something like that, you know. So it can be done, but Mr. America, unfortunately, it can only be done if there was a clause in the agreement. And this also goes to Mr. Khalid's question on the value that lawyers give. Sometimes you think any developer is going to put that clause in the agreement voluntarily? Absolutely not. So, but if you came to us, we can always try and negotiate some of those clauses. Because again, to Mr. Khalid, it is never a problem. It's never a legal problem until there's a problem, you know? So we try to avoid those eventualities.
Elisa Mitchell, great content. These topics are needed. Thank you. I mean, your Uber Eats order has been cold by now. Yes, it is. Sid, if you rent out your property to someone who's running Airbnb business, who's responsible for paying taxes?
You are
If they're
responsible to pay
subleasing it.
taxes. Yeah. You are responsible to pay taxes. Why? You remember the thing that I mentioned about, you remember the thing that I mentioned about people are not taxed. Income is taxed. So you must remember that, okay? So because, and I'll talk to that question about double taxation, because it is an income that is being taxed. So the person running the Airbnb has an income because you pay them a consultancy, a management fee, right? So they pay taxes on that income that you pay them. On the other hand, you are the one who's getting the Airbnb money when people are sleeping there, right? So you are, that income for you gets taxed. There's a follow-up question: is that double taxation? This is not double taxation.
Well, if I rent out my property long term and then the person under me is doing the Airbnb, I think that's what he's saying.
No. So you see, if you're renting out a property long term and then the person now who's your so it's you, Ryan, who owns the property. Frank has rented it out for you, and then Frank does Airbnb where Abdi stays, right? So you, Ryan, remember again, let's talk about what kind of income you're getting. You're getting monthly rental income from Frank. Okay, so you, Ryan, will simply just pay 7.5% of what Frank is paying you. Okay, remember, when it comes to me, Frank is now running the property and I'm renting it out to Abdi, who's a tenant, comes, sometimes goes. I will pay Airbnb taxes, and that is usually about 5%. Okay, why is this double taxation? And this is a good question. Is this double taxation? This is not double taxation. Why? Again, remember the principle I talked to you guys about, separate legal personalities. Ryan is a separate legal person altogether. Frank is a separate legal person altogether. And so Ryan is running a separate business from Frank. Ryan is running a business where he's doing monthly rental income, so he's getting taxed on that income. Frank is running an Airbnb. It could be in the same property, it could be in a different property, but I'm a different entity and I'm earning money differently. I get taxed differently. Okay, it's the same way. You're employed. If you're employed, you pay employment tax, but also your employer pays some taxes, right? It's not double taxation. Your employer pays the taxes. You as an employee, you pay your taxes. Okay, so it will not be double
Abdi,
taxation.
Yes,
did you have
hello.
something on the, yeah?
I wanted to answer, I think, one of the question a few minutes ago that Franklin just
If it
asked.
was delayed, yeah, right, this one. If the developer delays a project for a few years and the last payment 10% was contingent upon completion, is it possible to not pay because of loss of rental income?
No. This pretty straightforward. If it's contingent upon completion, whether if he has completed even after delay, you still have to discharge your part of the contract of the bargain. So you are required to pay the 10%. What you can do is later on, the rental income aspect only plays out in your favor when you have discharged all your duties. That is when they always say, he who seeks equity must come with clean hands. So if you are seeking some form of compensation or reimbursements or anything or any sort of protection by the law, then you should also complete your part of the bargain. That is by completing the 10% that you are supposed to complete. Thereafter, now you can make any claims whatsoever that you so wish. And of course, any claims that you make must also be provided for in the agreement, because you see, I always tell my clients, the sale agreement is where the battle is either won or lost. So you have to be careful. You have to be careful that at the time of review, your lawyer has to include such clauses that in the event the developer delays, there will be a clause on rental income. Yes. But you're supposed to do your job and pay the 10% at all times.
And I do want to say that that's where this 1% or the conveyancing thing can save you money, is if you have a better agreement of sale than someone else in the event of one of these issues. If you're able to negotiate, if the lawyer's able to negotiate a better contract with recourse, because the standard developer contracts don't have anything in there about if they're delayed, you don't get anything. And so if you're able to have that negotiated into your contract, this is where the value is a lot of times. Because if you don't have a good contract, for example, Franklin kind of brought it up with the amenities and the service charge. I had a whole thing with that. And my contract was very specific that the amenities are covered by the service charge. So no, you can't charge me to use the amenities because the service charge is supposed to cover that. So you can't add an additional fee. But if my contract didn't say that, then I wouldn't have a way to argue.
Yes, exactly. So usually what happens is that many buyers think that they will always be equal to the developer. What usually happens is, remember, this agreement is always drafted by the developer's lawyer. So they always make sure that there's clauses protect their client, number one, and then afterwards, then you come in second. But if you have a good lawyer who is also, well trained to handle this, then you will be at par. The best you can get is at par with the developer. But surprisingly, I think from the previous questions that I was seeing on YouTube, most clients who are inquiring that, why do I need to pay double fees? What's the job of the other lawyer? It's the same lawyer who's also going to represent you at some point, and they're gonna, help you in processing your title deed later on. Yeah. So in the initial stage of the transaction, they're against you. They draft those clauses against you. But then later on, they're the same ones who are asking for payment, and they're like, you know what, give us legal fee, and we're gonna fast track this processing of the sectional title realty for you. So they also now become your friends, and they become your lawyers towards the end.
Ran, I just wanted to say,
stuff.
I wanted to say, just for the heck of it, just so all of you guys know, talking about the 1% or the 1.25% of the legal fees. Just so you see how dejected we are and how poor and how frustrated we are. Lawyers get paid anything between 1% and 1.5%. The government gets 4%. Did you hear that? And the sales and wait, and the sales agent gets 5% or 4%. You see?
The minimum
Am
fee.
I? Yeah. Yes. Am I making some enemies out there? So the next time you think your lawyer is getting paid a lot, remember they get paid the least of everyone in the whole chain. Am I correct, Abdi?
Absolutely, yes. We are the ones who are least paid, as a matter of fact.
Yes, yes.
That is a good point. I'm just going to cover two last. Oh, it's O'Shea Duke Jackson in here. Hey, what's going on, O'Shea? Legend. 25,000 Ugandan shillings. How much is that? I don't know. I'll have to look it up.
A lot.
Thank you, O'Shea. That's a lot, right? What?
O'Shea, please, you should.
I'm getting some new shoes. Thank you, O'Shea.
O'Shea, please let me know when I come next to Uganda. You must, give me this kind of money as well. You can have some Rolex. Can meet at Owino Market. O'Shea knows what I'm talking about.
Wow, O'Shea's in here, man. O'Shea's been so impactful in the community. Dang, that's crazy. I almost moved to Kenya, but too many of us saw me and the way I got my cricket set up. I had to do. Yeah, but I thought you was over here. Oh shoot, that's crazy. I'm a little shocked. O'Shea is checking for us. Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. And I got to tell you, I mean, I'd love to tell you in person, but um, you've done a lot. I know you get a lot of criticism, but I see how much you do behind the scenes for people. So whether people like your style or not, or whatever your perspective is, sometimes I think you've like even with the Kevin Samuels and all the people in the space all over the place, like I see you do a lot for people. So that's like one of the big things. And then obviously with Kanganda. So I just wanted to give you some flowers about all that stuff. I have a lot of respect for what you do. And you know, I hope all is well. You're coming back to Uganda or you're coming back to Kenya? I think I see if you were in Kenya, I don't think you'd be having all those problems. But I'm kind of new here. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't ran into the same stuff yet. Some of it, I've definitely been lost some dollars already. So I'm starting to understand some of the things you're talking about. How long are you there for? I'm leaving next month. I've been here all year though, so I gotta get back at some point. But let me know, man. I'd love to connect. I know I don't like to impose though, so you know. But I'm definitely interested in connecting because again, I respect a lot of what you do, and it's very important. I think you've made a huge impact over here. I've watched almost all the Kinganda podcasts and learned a lot before I even came in 2024. So I have to say thank you very much for what you're doing. And I know it's not easy, so I appreciate it. And y'all can say I'm glazing, but I don't know. It's just a lot of respect for O'Shea. So thank you.
Mhm.
Last two things, because I am tired. I go to bed like 8, 9 p.m. So I'm tired. Is a trust account to be used for the Class G? I don't think they relate, do they?
Yeah. Ran, I saw this question and I thought you had missed it, so I wanted to answer it for Michelle Logan.
I didn't want to open the can of worms with trust because that's a whole nother
No,
hour.
no, but it's okay. I think I want to answer this specific one because no one has asked it. So Michelle Logan, no, unfortunately for Class G, you can't necessarily use a trust, because a trust is essentially what, Ryan?
It's its own person.
Oh yes. Oh, all right. So no. A trust is essentially not an investment vehicle per se, you know? Like when you think about investment and investment vehicles, a trust is mostly what comes in mind when we talk about asset protection, liability protection. As you know, trusts don't pay taxes. So if you're not paying taxes, you're not necessarily investing as far as the government is concerned. And so to answer your question in a very summarized way, unfortunately, no, you cannot use a trust for Class G. If you're doing Class G, one of the requirements to get the Class G is that you must register a company, okay? So it takes away the fact that you can use a trust. But however, what you can do is that you can register a company, which is an LLC company, use it to get the permit, and then the company can be owned by the trust. Okay? So the trust can be up here, which owns the company. It can own companies, it can even own properties, it can own many things. And then you can get a permit, but all of them owned by the trust. Okay? So you can't really use a
Is
trust
that
to get a Class
structure
G.
expensive?
No, it's not. It's actually not. Yeah, it's not.
Like to manage it,
It's
right? Because now you need management on the trust, trustees, and then the company needs its own.
but I mean, if you make it wrong, there's a way it can be expensive. But you see, like what we try to do at FKC Legal is still to make it seamless and accessible. So, like for example, the company would cost you about $50, or if in some extreme cases where it's very complicated, maybe $100. Same thing for a trust. The incorporation might be expensive, but then thereafter it becomes easy and simplified. And by the way, one day when we have time, we can't talk about it now because it's past 3 hours. But one day we'll talk about like now we're even doing some work for some people who are still on the aspect of investing in Africa. Like, is this client we're working with them now from, I think, from the US. They are setting up the investment in Kenya, but it's going to be owned by an entity that we're incorporating it for them in Mauritius. Okay. And
Yeah, I was looking
this,
into that.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is the kind of thing that also Mr. America is very happy to hear, you know. But essentially, we are actually also doing that with some people. I'm just gonna switch
Oh,
off my camera. Yeah, my power went out finally, so I'm just gonna be on audio. But essentially, yeah, it is possible that Ryan, I think when you finish, you should tell the audience the true story about my situation, but it's gonna come after. So,
Caribou, Kenya.
thank you. But it's possible for you to have the company registered in Mauritius, and then you do it, you know, you own and operate it in Kenya, in which case you don't pay any taxes, absolutely.
Ah, interesting. All
Right.
right. Oh, hold on. Let me do the super chat. Darnell, $2
Oh, yes.
super chat. Thank you.
Yeah. I saw this from
Also,
Danielle a long time ago. Yeah.
that 25,000 you got in the shillings is $7. I thought.
Something, you know.
No,
It
but I
buys
appreciate it. That's funny.
you a Rolex.
Yeah. You could get one at the market for that much, though.
No. Like, there's something in Uganda called a Rolex. Like, there's a food called Rolex in Uganda. So Osha will tell you. It's very Ugandan. Yes.
Oh,
So
yeah. Okay.
this is a good question,
Darnell. Okay. Yeah,
Danielle. Yes,
Franklin, can you help
Darnell.
with opening a bank
Oh,
account?
yes. Absolutely, Darnell. And I know if the clients who are here and worked with, absolutely, we can help you get the bank account. It's very, very simple. It takes only a few days. We can actually do the company registration for you as an individual, if you're an individual, and also for your company, if you have a company. The individual takes just 1 day, 2 days maximum to set it up, and then, you know, some time for you to just get familiar and operationalize it. The company might take slightly longer, but it can absolutely be done. The only catch, Daniel, is that for the company incorporation, unfortunately, this is one of the 2 services only that we offer that you'd need to be in the country to get. Okay, so while you can get the bank account for you, we unfortunately cannot get it for you remotely. You'd have to be in the country physically, and then we'd escort you to the bank ourselves, or have the bank meet with you and then do the company setup. Okay, it can be done, but you'd have to be in the country. If you're in the country, at any time, reach out, and I will personally take you to the bank to have this done.
Sawa. Gerard
Sawa.
Davis. We really appreciate FKC Legal. If you are looking for a lawyer, we really advise them. Even we are just become their client. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, yay. Amazing. Gerard is a
Happy
good
people.
friend from the Netherlands.
Hey.
Thank you so much, Gerard.
Michelle Logan, thank you. I'll be setting up my appointment soon with Ryan, interested in Hefe Palace. Definitely reach out. Let us know. Do the almasirealty.com/buy, because that's how we keep track of everybody now, because it's getting busy. So, but I'll pull your information once I see it in there. But yeah, we'll show you everything. Hefe Palace has, I like the 1-bedroom plus study. Some of the other units, I think there's some better projects, but these are the things that we talk about. Dr. Deca, last comment. Ryan, will your company manage my Airbnb? The Luminara developers talked about UHost and some other Airbnb management companies. I will be out of Kenya most of the time, so we'll need a company. We do not do management right now, just trying to get the sales perfected. By the time Luminara completes, my plan is to start doing the Diplomat for my personal units and have trial and error with the management for that. And then after we mess up my own stuff and figure out how to do it right, then probably the next step is to help you guys out, because there is a gap in good management. I don't know of any good managers. They ask me, I don't give referrals because I don't want you guys yelling at me. So that's the plan, though. So by the time Luminar is done, yeah, we'll probably be able to do it. But right now we don't. Thank you, Franklin, so much. Valuable information. Abdi is also great. Sorry he could not join enough today. It's funny because Franklin's power is out. Abdi's power was out.
Yes.
I do have my power, but we have a generator that actually powers the inside of the unit if it goes out, which is something that you should ask when we're at these properties, because they'll maybe one outlet works and that's it, or just the common areas, but they'll tell you they have a backup generator. So something to think about. Franklin, thank you so much. I can't believe so many people stayed to watch legal stuff
It's
for so
unbelievable.
long.
No?
It's crazy.
Wow.
I
It's
hope this
unbelievable. But
information was helpful to everybody. And thank you for giving, because like you said, a lot of people don't want to give free information, especially here in Kenya. And so it's very helpful, and it helps people acclimate themselves so that they don't get lost in the sauce and caught up and in trouble. They can be armed with some information so that they can, the more information that you have, the less likely it is for bad things to happen to you when you come here. And then again, that's why we work with Franklin and FKC and Abdi, because I think, they can help you stay safe with some of this stuff.
And Ran, I don't know if let me just say that also. Thank you so much to the audience for following. It has been a real pleasure. We exist to serve you guys. That's why we are very generous with all the information, and all our clients will tell you that, the guys that we have interacted with, we don't hold back on any of the information. We try to give you all the information so that if you work with us, you are very well equipped and you are well knowledgeable. If you don't work with us and work with another lawyer, you also are very well equipped and well knowledgeable, because our mission is to make it seamless and to set a standard on legal services, investment legal services in Kenya. Because as it is now, we are the only law firm in East Africa that specializes purely on foreign direct investment. So you see, this is big. We're the only law firm in East Africa that specializes working with purely you guys. So we really, really understand what you guys go through. We understand your problems. We understand the kind of situations you guys go through, and we're here to help you. And I was just going through the chat. I hope everything has been answered. If you feel something is not clear, just reach out to us on the WhatsApp or on email, and we'll be very happy to give you the clarification. And I just wanted to say, Ryan, I don't know if this is the right time to tell them my situation, that so I'm going to turn on my camera. So this is how I look. Missing my teeth. So everyone who's watching, just so you know, I was actually in my farm earlier on today, and I rushed home very, very fast to come for this live, only to get home and there's no power. So this is how I look. You can only see my teeth. So I'm telling Ryan, you can plan for everything, and then just something messes up. So fortunately, I had charged my lighters. So I had power on the lighters, but they after 3 hours they went out. But I decided to do anything that I can to make sure that this live goes through. So I've literally been sitting in that the whole time. I know my Kenyans are gonna laugh at me because they can only see my teeth. But yeah, this is the kind of lengths we'll go to just provide you our services. Thank you so much.
I'm really glad it worked out. I was worried it would be just teeth there. So
I'm gonna keep smiling like Johnny Walker. Yeah. So thank you. And by the way, if you forget anything today, of everything that you've said, if you forget anything, a few things for you to remember. If you forget anything, as I continue smiling, you don't get taxed. Your income gets taxed. Number 2, don't confuse investment for residency. Number 3, when you come to us, we really like that you've done your research, but when you come to us, we'll tell you forget everything that you've read online and tell us what your vision is and what your mission and what you want to achieve. And our clients will always tell you that actually this is one thing that we try to just understand where you come from. So if you forget anything, these are the 3 things that I want you guys to remember. And then lastly, better call FKC Legal, like you better call Soul. Thank you so much, Ryan. Asante sana.
Thank you. Thank you, Franklin and Abdi. Thank you, everybody, for the kind words, the appreciation. I never thought I'd be here doing anything that I'm doing. It's amazing. It's a dream. And when people tell me that they really got value from it, it feels really good. So I appreciate you guys. We'll keep trying to do good work. We won't be perfect, but I do try to do my best. And so I appreciate all the support. Until next time, guys, I'm going to sleep. See ya. Have a good time.
Just so they know, Ryan, for us now it is almost 10:30 p.m. in Kenya.
Yeah.
So how much you're dedicated.
Tired. Nimechoka.
Yes.
All right. See you guys.